Welcome to Gotia Fanfiction. Today I'm gonna start a new series, What If Naruto Had a Twin Sister? If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and to watch more videos like this, subscribe to my channel and turn that bell notification on so you never miss an upload. Now wasting no more time, let's begin.
Minami's beautiful red hair cascaded behind her as she strolled through the village. That foolish Naruto. Where would he have disappeared to? We will be running late for class. Frustrated with her brother, she did her best to search the village while her little boots thumped loudly on the ground. There was a slight wobble to her black shorts below her eggshell-colored dress. There was a slit across her body in the top of her dress. To complement Naruto, the slit was tinted orange. Last but not least, she had long sleeves, and the Uzumaki clan mark on her back caused her arms to get cold quickly. Don't misunderstand her. She adores her brother. He simply makes careless errors that get them in hot water, and half the time she takes the blame. Iruka-sensei never really writes her up because he is aware that she accepts responsibility. She shouted, "Naruto! Come on, class is just about to start," with exhaustion. She hunched over in defeat, some of her long red hair falling onto her face. With haste, she stood up again and returned her red strain to her hair. She heard him say, "I should really braid my hair or something, it's getting so long." She pleaded that he hadn't done something foolish. Her brother suddenly bolted by, followed by two Junin. "Naruto! Why would you do such a thing? You're really gonna get it this time?" Minami let out a loud sigh and went to leave for class when I saw Iruka-sensei. Minami laughed nervously and slowly retreated, saying, "Oh, hey Iruka-sensei. Fancy meeting you here." Iruka-sensei's hands were on his hips. "Why aren't you in class, Minami?" Minami asked, glancing around. She pointed at Naruto after spotting him hiding behind something that resembled fabric. Iruka-sensei grumbled and approached Naruto from behind, saying, "I was looking for Naruto. I didn't want him to be late today like always." "Hey, Naruto," Naruto said, leaping to his feet. Minami approached her and covered her face with a palm. Despite being younger, she consistently behaved like the eldest of the two siblings. Iruka-sensei angrily pointed a finger at him and asked, "How did you suddenly get here, Iruka-sensei?" He went to Minami and asked, "The question is, what are you doing here when you should be in class now?" "And Minami," she said, straightening up as Naruto turned to face her. She simply gestured at Naruto and said, "You're more responsible, why are you here?" Iruka-sensei simply groaned in despair, saying, "I was trying to be responsible and get Naruto to class on time." She nodded and hurried to class, saying, "Minami, just head off to class while I deal with your brother, please." Everyone stared at her when she entered the classroom. Sakura questioned her, "Where's your idiot brother and Iruka-sensei?" Minami merely chuckled uneasily. Sakura shook her head at Minami, saying, "He's dealing with Naruto at the moment. He should be here soon though." Minami simply looked at the ground and said, "Honestly, I don't know how anyone deals with Naruto. He's so annoying and destroys everything. Why is Naruto never given a chance? Yes, he gets into trouble, but even when we are together, it's difficult to be by yourself all the time." Minami got up and sat down next to Sasuke. Minami is seated next to Sasuke, which Sakura and Ino detest, but there were no other seats available. Iruka-sensei entered while Naruto was restrained. Minami only looked at her hands as she said, "Now listen, Naruto. You failed the last graduation test and the one before that. Iruka-sensei, you don't need to remind us. I am aware of Naruto's lack of intelligence." Sasuke observed her fiddling with her hands, but remained silent. Naruto looked up at his sister, who had beseeching eyes, and said, "You're even bringing your sister down with you, who, by the way, is the only reason you haven't been kicked out yet. This is no time to be goofing off, you fool." Iruka became enraged as Naruto simply pouted and turned away. Iruka-sensei fiercely turned to face the entire class. "We will have a re-test on the transformation jutsu," he said. "Even those who already passed will take it," complained everyone as they descended to perform the changes. Minami took the lead. Minami said, "All right, Minami Uzumaki. Transform," and changed into Iruka-sensei. She grinned broadly and said, "Good Minami, you pass." Iruka nodded as Minami went to the bathroom, saying, "I'm going to go use the bathroom now." She skipped down the hall to the bathroom while humming. Minami and Iruka-sensei were watching Naruto wipe the Hokage's face after class. Iruka moaned, "Why can't I help him, Iruka-sensei?" Minami simply nodded, "Because if want to help him he wouldn't learn." "I don't care. There's nobody home anyway." Minami gasped and covered her mouth. "I won't let you go home unless you clean that all up," she said. Growing up alone has been quite difficult. Naruto was motivated to clean more quickly by the statement, Naruto, what I meant was, if you clean all that mess up, I'll buy you ramen tonight. Minami gave Iruka-sensei a smile. Iruka nodded as Minami left, saying, you two go alone, I'm not feeling ramen tonight. She strolled along the well-lit street. Sasuke was lounging on a seat when she noticed him. As she walked past, she whispered, hey Sasuke. She never really understood why he was so well liked by women. He was simply another boy to her. He said, hey Minami. They shared a kind of closeness where all you had to do was say hello and goodbye. He was okay with her being around because he knew she didn't desire him like the other girls. Minami came home to see Naruto after her nightly stroll. He gave her a thumbs up and said, hey Naruto, how was ramen with Iruka-sensei? It was good Minami. He got me the best ramen, she exclaimed, laughing at her brother while preparing her own meal. As she pulled out her ingredients, she sang, what are you making Minami? Naruto excitedly sprang up and down, saying, spam musubi, do you want some? I'm making my special sauce to go with it. Minami laughed at her brother and said, of course I want some of your famous spam musubi Minami. You're so good at cooking. You should open your own restaurant, before completing her meal. Naruto was thrilled the following day. As they made their way to the academy, he pumped his hands in the air and turned to face his sister. Is it because of the graduation test? You better pass this time Naruto. As they got closer to the school, Minami laughed and said, yeah Minami, I promise to try my best, to her brother. Naruto was getting very happy, and Minami was observing her brother. We are now about to begin the graduation test. When your name is called, proceed to the next classroom. Minami let out a loud sigh. The test is on the clone jutsu. While Naruto struggled with himself. I suppose I'll simply do my best and hope Naruto doesn't make a mistake this time. While several of her classmates were summoned back, Minami sat patiently. She fiddled a little with her fingers. Sasuke asked her abruptly, nervous? Unaware that the Uchiha would ever speak to her, she gave a small start. Just a little bit. You know how Naruto is Sasuke. He doesn't take these very seriously and the clone jutsu isn't his strong suit. She placed her head in her hands. The Uchiha laughed a little at her cost, she heard. She complained, it's not funny, Sasuke. While Sakura and Ino gave her a stern look. I should keep my head down when I'm around Sasuke. I don't want the entire school to pursue me. Minami turned to face Sasuke. He gave a small smile before closing his eyes, saying, we can't keep talking or else the whole school will be after me for being able to actually have conversations with you. Minami Uzumaki, she said as she abruptly stood up and went inside to complete her exam. Minami made hand gestures and said, all right, Minami, I know you can do more than 5 clones but just give us 3. Clone jutsu. 3 more Minami materialized beside her. Great Minami. Here you are, Iruka-sensei said, giving Minami a headband. Iruka groaned deeply and took it in her hands, saying, oh thank you Iruka-sensei, but just have Naruto bring mine out when he passes. After giving it some thought, Minami took the headband. Please Minami, I'm positive Naruto will pass this time. We had a long talk last night and he seems ready to pass this time. Iruka and Minami grinned and said, all right Iruka-sensei I believe you. I accept this headband and will wait for Naruto to get his. Minami grinned broadly as she left, waving the headband at her older brother. I finally passed Naruto. Look see, she exclaimed, thrusting the headband into his face. She laughed as he dashed into the room, saying, oh wow Minami, now I really gotta step up my game and not let my baby sister be stronger than me. Sasuke said, so, you finally accepted a headband? There weren't many people in the room, and they hurried outside to see their parents after receiving their headbands. She pushed some hair away and said, yeah, I guess I'm hoping he gets serious and passes this time. Sasuke only uttered a HN in response to her feeble giggle. I can't keep doing this. Turning, Minami went outside to wait for her brother. After some time, Naruto emerged with a somber expression and took a seat on the little swing. Naruto, oh no. Minami approached her brother cautiously. Without turning to face her, he murmured, I didn't pass Minami. I'm such a failure. His forehead was jammed up against the swing's rope. No you're not Naruto. Some people just neigh. Oh shut up Minami. I know you think you're better than me. You all think you're better than me. He yelled and hurried away. Despite her deep sympathy for her brother, Minami remained silent. Her red strains cascaded down her shoulder. She turned to see Sasuke after feeling a touch on her shoulder out of the blue. Minami let out a loud sigh and wished Sasuke was correct. Don't mind him, he's an idiot who thinks everything will come easy for him. This will teach him a lesson. The house was deserted when she strolled home by herself. She began to worry. Where in the world might he be? She made the decision to hold off. Naruto occasionally does disappearing deeds when he is upset, but he always returns. A masked figure emerged from their window while she was tidying the kitchen. Minami Uzumaki? She asked, frightened and protecting herself. She panicked as the guy took her hand and she found herself in front of the Hokage. No need to be frightened, just come with me, the Hokage needs you now. Lord Hokage? What did I do? She exclaimed, crying and terrified. She wiped her eyes a little in perplexity and said, It's not about you, Minami, where is Naruto? The Hokage groaned and turned to face the window. Naruto? I haven't seen him since the graduation exam. He didn't pass, and when I tried to comfort him he ran off, and I haven't seen him since. Minami let out a loud scream and was nearly in disbelief when he remarked, He stole one of the scroll of seals, we must find him immediately. The Hokage laughed as Minami's hair sprang up like her late mother's. That idiot Naruto. Why would he jeopardize his life for a scroll? I'm gonna put him through the ringer when I see him, she exclaimed. Kushina, I wish you could see your kids right now. Minami exclaimed, Lord Hokage. Naruto's been found, as the third dispatched Junin to get him. She sighed with relief and apologized for her brother one more before heading out. Minami, please go back to your apartment. I promise Naruto will be home safe by tonight. Why does my brother act so foolishly? Minami was upset with her brother as she made her way home. When she eventually arrived at their flat, she prepared for bed. She couldn't stop thinking about Naruto as she lay down to sleep. Please, Naruto, stay safe. There was a loud crash in the adjacent room while she slept. She hurried outside to visit her foolish brother. She had a furious expression in her eyes, but he was beaming. She was about to reprimand him when her hair began to stick straight up and she grabbed his shirt collar. Wait. Minami, he said, displaying a headband. She released her hold to examine the headband. Naruto laughed nervously as he began to explain, How did you get this? So you stole the scroll, learned a forbidden jutsu and saved Iruka Sensu from Mizuki-sensei? He sighed. Minami put her arms around her brother and said, Well, I guess that's okay. I still love you all the same, big brother. He did the same. Minami got up early because they were going to have their photos done today. Naruto. Wake up or you'll be late, she said, applying a small amount of mascara. At the very least, I want to appear somewhat adorable in my photo. She dressed as normal and went out the door. Naruto must learn how to awaken by himself. The line was really long when she arrived at the picture queue. She trailed Akamaru and Kiba. Kiba turned to face her and said, Good morning, Kiba. Are you excited to finally get step up in the ninja world? He winked at her and said, Good morning, Minami. You look real cute today. She laughed at his boyishness. Minami leaned out and petted Akamaru's head as he woofed, Oh stop, Kiba. It's just mascara, I just wanted to look good for the picture. Why good morning to you too, Akamaru. Aren't you a good boy? Kiba gazed at Minami as Akamaru leapt onto her and she joyfully held him. She must be unique because Akamaru typically dislikes being held by others. Kiba cooed over Akamaru and kept staring. They turned to see Sasuke after hearing behind them, Where's your idiot brother? I heard he did something stupid last night. I tried to wake him up, I swear I did, and also he stole a scroll last night from the Hokage. I'm surprised he didn't get locked up for being so stupid. Minami grumbled in defeat. Kiba answered matter-of-factly, Why would he do that? Sounds like a Naruto thing to do. Yeah, he's quite the knucklehead. Sasuke simply responded with his customary, HN. When their photos were eventually taken, Minami waited for her brother. She was horrified to see how silly Naruto looked as he ran in. See you soon, Minami, she exclaimed, stunned by what she had witnessed and simply waiting for him. He eventually descended with a triumphant grin. You look ridiculous, Naruto. Why did you do this? Minami couldn't help but smile at Naruto's mischievous smile. Minami made the decision to return home and make dinner, saying, All right, it's your picture, Naruto, I can't convince you otherwise. She had to prepare the special sauce ahead of time because she was making chicken katsu. There was a knock on the door when she was clearing away her dishes. She responded to a Junin. What the heck did Naruto do now? The Junin gave her a tense smile and said, Oh, hello there, how may I help you? She panicked and hurried out of their apartment, saying, Your brother, Naruto, got into a little fight with the third Hokage's honorable grandson. Naruto is constantly in trouble. She dashed past a man who appeared to be a Junin and into the Hokage's room. Lord Hokage, she exclaimed, gasping for air. She gasped and turned to face the third Hokage. I heard Naruto's being stupid again, she exclaimed. He's fine, Minami, just my grandson trying to sneak attack me again. He really wants to be the fifth Hokage. Minami smiled. The third Hokage hurriedly said, do me a favor, Minami, and follow my grandson. He's off to join Naruto and I fear what they'll do together. She started to walk away, but the Hokage stopped her. Of course, Lord Hokage, I'm really good at keeping Naruto out of trouble, she said. Minami agreed and hurried to locate her older twin brother and the respectable grandson. Oh, and if you meet Ebisu, don't mind him, he can be a little protective of Konohamaru. Before she saw her brother and Konohamaru in front of a bookstore, she was running around. What does he intend to do? Okay, next, we'll do some research on sexiness. Yes, boss. Minami collapsed in shock. Will the respectable grandson learn about sexiness from Naruto? I must stop him. She made the decision to wake the shopkeeper after witnessing them slip inside. Minami. Wah, she said, pointing to the two lads who were staring at the women in the mags. Naruto. The store owner stood up and picked up a duster. He glared as he stood over the guys. Minami winced and said, I told you I don't allow reading here, Naruto, as the store continued to eject them. I know we can try the bathhouse. Minami chased after them as they dashed in that direction. Naruto. Please, she exclaimed, but it was too late. She watched as the two boys changed and entered the bathhouse. Naruto, what do you educate this boy? Naturally, they were also expelled from the bathhouse. As they dashed into the trees, she let out a groan. I'm going to follow them for a while. In the wilderness, I believe they will be all right. After realizing her whereabouts, she set out to locate Kiba. I believe Kiba resides in this area. Although I have never visited his home, I have seen it. She strolled along the route with elegance. At last, she discovered what appeared to be an animal hospital. I believe that Kiba resided here. Was I mistaken? She approached and unlocked the door. Then she noticed a woman who shared his markings. Grinning, she approached Minami. Minami grinned back at her and said, Hello, can I help you? She laughed at Minami and said, Hello, I'm looking for Kiba. I thought he lived around here. My brother? No, he doesn't live here. This is the pet hospital. He comes here sometimes to visit me, so that's probably why you thought he lived here. Minami blushed in shame. She raised her hands to her face and began stroking her scalp and shaking her head. I'm really foolish. How could I confuse that? The female starter was making fun of her. A big wolf-like dog materialized and licked Hannah's hand, saying, You're hilarious. My name is Hannah and you can come here anytime. Here, please allow one of my faithful companions to escort you to our house so you may speak with him. Hannah said to Minami, what was your name, sweetie? Hannah said, My name is Minami Uzumaki, and fixed her gaze on Minami. She reminded me of the fourth Hokage's wife, so I knew. Once more, what was her name? After the wolf gave Minami a woof, they both fled. As she saw the two dash out to her house, Hannah began, Oh yeah, I remember now. Her name was Kushina Uzumaki. Perched atop the Hokage's tower, the third Hokage gazed up at the fourth Hokage's face. Iruka materialized behind the Hokage and said, Lord Hokage, I've been looking for you. The Hokage simply kept looking up at the stone face. He said, Iruka. Iruka approached the third Hokage and said, Did Naruto resubmit his ninja registration form? The Hokage just said, Yes, in response. Iruka concluded, standing behind the third Hokage, when I lectured him the other night at the ramen stand, he said he will make everyone accept him now that he's a ninja. He's been happy since then. It might not be easy for Naruto to realize that dream. Iruka merely gave a, in response. As you well know, only the villagers that fought the nine-tailed fox spirit 12 years ago know that the monster is sealed inside Naruto. The Hokage said. I ruled that no one shall speak of that incident. I have severely punished those who have broken this rule. Now our children know nothing about it. That is the only positive development for Naruto. Iruka calmly awaited behind the third Hokage. Before the fourth Hokage trapped the monster and died, his last wish was for the villagers to regard Naruto as a hero, he concluded. A hero? Inquired Iruka. The fourth Hokage sealed the monster into the navel of a newborn baby whose umbilical cord had just been cut, as the receptacle for the nine-tailed fox spirit. Naruto saved the village. Unfortunately, the other villagers don't see him like that. Some even say that Naruto is the nine-tailed fox spirit himself. Little by little, that attitude has been passed down to their own children. Iruka simply listened to what the third Hokage had said. What about Minami, sir? Does she have any of the nine-tailed fox spirit in her? Or is it just in Naruto? The third Hokage grumbled. I'm unsure of that. I believe the fourth placed a seal on her in case the fox spirit tried to jump from twin to twin. Their bond is so close, it would have no issues in the matter. Iruka giggled. Iruka, at some point the two will need to be separate for the greater good of the village. The fox spirit is too powerful and could easily get to Minami if the seal were to be weakened. At the moment Minami is safe and Naruto is safe because the seal is strong. Iruka sighed with relief. The Hokage simply closed his eyes and sighed again, saying, I'm also unsure if the fox spirit can talk to either of the two. As I said, the twins have a very close bond, it makes me nervous every day. Iruka simply stared at the Hokage, listening to everything he said. Iruka, do you know? When someone is hated and people refuse to accept his existence, he sees it in the eyes of the people around him. I need to watch Minami and Naruto more closely, ensure that nothing negative occurs. Minami was spending time with Akamaru and Kiba. So this is where you live. I accidentally went to the animal hospital thinking you lived there and your sister laughed at me. Kiba laughed. Minami tossed a ball, and Akamaru chased it. No, you're fine, I go there all the time. I'm sure you're not the only one who thinks I live there. Kiba said, so, what are you doing today? The Hokage tasked me with following Naruto and his grandson because he was afraid Naruto would teach him something he's not supposed to know. Kiba sighed. So why are you here? Minami got up and stretched, saying, I stopped following them because they seemed to have a heart-to-heart in the forest. I didn't want to intrude. Kiba was observing everything she did. Is she heading out right now? I'm hoping she returns. What am I saying? Naturally, to play with Akamaru. Minami sagged and turned to leave, saying, I should probably head back to make sure they're not trying to go into the women's bathhouse again. Kiba stood up and gestured for her to leave. She waved back, saying, bye Minami. See you later, before returning to Naruto and Konohamaru. Minami dashed into the forest, where he saw numerous Narutos and some Junin. That must be Ebisu, right? What is Naruto doing? Minami simply remained on the tree and observed, saying, I am not as weak as Mizuki. It appears that Naruto has this under control, but I'll step in if necessary. She took a seat to observe them more intently. Naruto abruptly transformed into a group of nude women. Naruto. Minami lost his balance and tumbled off the tree. She stood up to witness Ebisu's defeat. It seems like men are all the same. After cleaning herself up, she went to Naruto. Naruto. What are you doing? You're supposed to be a good role model for the honorable grandson, she said, grabbing him by the collar. She groaned and released him. Minami. I was teaching him good. And his name is Konohamaru, she said. I can't even beat that four-eyed teacher of mine. I want the title of Lord Hokage so badly. I want to be recognized by everybody, but I keep failing, Konohamaru said. Minami turned to face Naruto. Naruto would undoubtedly want to be acknowledged as well. I observe how they handle him. Naruto gets the short end of the stick, but they don't treat me any better. Naruto looked over to Konohamaru. Konohamaru and Minami both gave Naruto a look and said, you think it's that easy? It's given only to the greatest ninja in the village. Everyone must learn to believe in you. I've been through a lot already. It's been one struggle after another. But after all that, I found someone who accepts me other than my little sister, Minami. Minami smiled wide as Konohamaru gazed at her. You're his sister? She asked with a proud nod. Konohamaru turned to Naruto as he concluded, saying, I had to go through a lot. Just for one person. You had better push yourself. He questioned Naruto, for what? Minami felt her long red hair being blown by the wind. The path of getting the title, Lord Hokage, is a brutal one. Naruto grinned as he turned to face them. There's no such thing as a shortcut. This is especially true for you, Naruto. Konohamaru abruptly became cruel. Minami simply moved to Naruto's side and said, who do you think you are, lecturing me like that? Minami giggled uncomfortably to herself, I won't be your apprentice anymore. That's a terrific concept for all of us, in my opinion. He turned back to the twins and grinned, saying, from now on, you're my rival. A little rivalry, how adorable. Naruto gave him a smile in return. Minami enjoyed the adorable moment that was taking place in front of her. Unfortunately for you, tomorrow I graduate from the Ninja Academy. Still, I'll consider you an equal someday when we fight for the title of Lord Hokage. Let's look forward to that. Konohamaru. With these two, perhaps the Hokage and I had nothing to be concerned about. Naruto turned and began to go, raising his hand to bid farewell. Minami gave Konohamaru a short wave before turning to go. Naruto poked out his tongue and patted his stomach, saying, "We better hurry home, Naruto. I'm making chicken katsu for dinner tonight." Minami laughed and said, "I love when you make chicken katsu, Minami. Believe it, I think you should open a little diner with all your good food." To her brother. "Perhaps I ought to give it some thought. Giving my good food to others wouldn't hurt, would it?" Prepared for the delicious meal, they both strolled home. Extra scene. When they finished their meal, Minami packed up some leftovers. She gave her brother a hug and said, "I'm going in my room, Minami. Good night," as he entered his room. After that, Minami left the house to look for the Uchiha. "I hope Sasuke enjoys the meal." She showed up to his house and rapped on the door. Sasuke glared as he opened it. I guess he thought I would be one of his fangirls. When he spotted Minami, his eyes softened. She held up the leftovers and said, "Oh, good evening, Minami. What are you doing out so late?" She laughed as he accepted the food and said, "I made chicken katsu tonight and figured you would like some. I made too much." Minami laughed nervously and pushed her hair behind her ear, saying, "Thanks, how did you know where I lived?" Without attempting to appear strange, she continued, "I might have watched you walk home from my apartment. This door will be slammed in my face by him." She was expecting him to shut the door, but all he did was laugh at her. She nodded and turned to walk away, saying, "You're such a stalker. Thank you for the food. Next time just ask someone where they live without stalking them." "Good night, Sasuke. Enjoy the food," she exclaimed as she hurried back to her flat, grinning. After shutting his door, Sasuke smelled the bag. "She's an amazing chef." Minami awoke when the sun rose. "Today is the day, and I can't wait." She hurriedly got ready after getting out of bed. "I'd want to arrive early to meet everyone. Perhaps Kiba will greet me. Oh, what am I thinking?" Minami's hands shot to her face, causing her face to flush red. "I can't think about boys. I'm now a ninja. Why did I turn into a ninja, I wonder? I can't recall." Minami dressed as normal and applied a small amount of mascara. Her face heated up once again as she recalled what Kiba had said to her. "Stop it, please." Gramps was correct. All boys are as trouble. I might have contracted a bug. After giving her a shake, she left to prepare some food. She made Naruto and herself a simple egg breakfast, but when she looked into his room, he was still asleep. Should I even attempt to rouse him? With a defeated sigh, she ate breakfast by herself. She encountered Sasuke en route to the academy. As he spoke his well-known HN, she enthusiastically answered, "Good morning, Sasuke." She let out a big sigh when Sasuke inquired, "Where's your idiot brother?" "Still in bed." She sagged as she considered how her brother could fall asleep at the time of day. She turned to face Kiba after hearing, "Really? I would have suspected he'd be the first one here." Uncertain that she would look foolish, Minami hurriedly averted her gaze. Kiba blinked and turned to face Sasuke, who merely shrugged. "Oh. Okay. See you guys later." Minami grabbed her breath as Kiba bolted. She nearly collapsed after being startled by Sasuke's shoulder check. She cleared her throat as Sasuke inquired, "What was that about?" She buried her face in shame and said, I'm not." As it dawned on him, Sasuke laughed at her and said, "I'm unsure what you're talking about." She turned to sneer at him, saying, "You like him, don't you?" No. I don't. I just have a stomach bug." Sasuke rolled his eyes at her as they walked into the academy. Minami tripped over a few books as they entered. "Ka!" she exclaimed as she collapsed. Before she could fall to the ground, two arms grabbed her. "Are you okay, miss?" she exclaimed. Getting back to her feet upon seeing Rock Lee, she cleaned herself up and gave him a small bow. "Thank you, Lee. You broke my fall," he said, giving her a quick tool and a thumbs up. He said, "An angel. Let me take care of you forever. My sweet Minami." Minami was perplexed. "We seldom ever speak. We are simply acquainted by name. What makes him desire to wed me?" As Sasuke laughed and left, her face flushed. "They laugh at me all the time." Other students began to gaze at Lee, who was now on his knees. Minami promptly and politely said, Lee, please get up. People are looking. What are you doing?" They both turned to face Kiba after someone took her hand back. "Please, Minami." "Oh, Kiba." What's he doing? When he released her, her face flushed. Lee, come on. You can't just declare your love to any girl who will listen, Lee said as he stood up, hunched over, and headed back to his class. Kiba faced her. Manami shook her head at him, saying, was he being creepy? I know Lee can be a bit much. Kiba was perplexed as Manami hurried past him to class, saying, it's fine, I'm fine. Let's get back to class. What a peculiar yet adorable girl. He went to class with her. When Manami entered the classroom, she saw her brother Naruto. How? I stood up before him. Lee, that idiot, here, I was going to defeat Naruto. As she made her way to locate a seat, she let out a defeated sigh. Shikamaru approached Naruto as he descended the stairs. Naruto sat up in his chair and gestured to his headband, saying, why are you here? Today's meeting is for graduates only. Hey, don't you see this headband? As of today, I'm a ninja, too. Manami said as he located a place in a row that was empty. What is the purpose of this conference, I wonder? I don't recall if we were informed. She turned to view Kiba once more after sensing someone sitting close to her. I will never be able to get away from this boy. Hey Manami. I wasn't trying to make you uncomfortable earlier. Just trying to save you from Lee. Once he gets a hold on you, he won't let go. One time I saw him hold that pose with a girl for 30 minutes. Manami sat in her seat and giggled at him. Kiba gave her a smile and moved up close. She blushed and shoved him away, saying, I could take care of you just as good. Oh stop Kiba. I can't bother myself with boys right now. I'm a ninja, Kiba chuckled. Manami flushed even more as she hid her face in her arms on the table in front of her. Okay. I won't bother you anymore till we're older. That doesn't mean I can't flirt with you from time to time. Manami turned to find him kissing Sasuke after becoming enraged. Kiba grabbed Manami's arm as she got up to assist him. She turned to face the group of irate young females and said, Manami, if I were you I'd stay away from that. See all those girls? I don't believe I can handle these. Kiba put her back in her seat. Manami looked at what was going to happen and stated, plus, you said you were a ninja now. Naruto is a ninja also. You can't always run to his aid. I suppose Kiba is correct. I can't take care of him all the time. I felt a cramp in my stomach and held it. I'm becoming paranoid since I think my menstruation is about to start. I'll go investigate. Kiba grasped Manami's arm once more as she got up to go. With her palm still on her tummy, she turned to face him and said, I told you Manami, you just gotta let him learn. Kiba released his grip and leaned forward him. She said, Kiba, I think my period started, that's why I got up to go to the bathroom to check. In an attempt to keep her, Kiba's face flushed with shame. Manami turned around and walked away, saying, you can go. She spotted Iruka-sensei as she approached the hallway. Iruka arched an eyebrow and said, Good morning Manami, why aren't you in class? He nodded and walked away without reading any more. Good morning to you too Iruka-sensei. I'm just heading to the bathroom for a girl problem. You can start class without me, Kiba will fill me in. At last, Manami reached the restroom to be sure. Oh, that's wonderful. Nothing is with me. Manami was sitting on the toilet, considering her options, when she heard the door open. Perhaps the person entering has won. She heard people laughing. Suki. You're so bad. What, it's true. Two girls entered a stall and began smoking. Well, I'll just use some toilet paper. When they began conversing, Manami began to construct a temporary pad. She took a drag from her cigarette and said, Manako, when are you going to understand that we shouldn't associate ourselves with those evil twins? Manami froze on the toilet, saying, Suki, I know you said that, but what even makes them so evil? My parents won't tell me shit. Are you? Are they referring to me and Naruto? After finishing, Manami simply waited. Will they try to beat me up if I leave? Manami gasped and hurriedly sprang up to go, saying, We should beat them up when we get the chance. Who's in here? She asked, running without bothering to wash her hands. I have to leave this place. Iruka-sensei and most of the other students were gone when she arrived at her classroom down the hall. With a sigh, she approached her brother. He turned to face her, and she began to cry. She sniffled and collapsed into his arms, saying, Whoa, what's wrong Manami? Naruto gave her a tight hug. Naruto groaned and patted her hair, saying, there were girls in the bathroom. They were talking about beating us up and how much they hated us. Why do people treat us this way? I hope I could be of assistance to poor Manami. Naruto looked at Sasuke as he stated, Stop being a crybaby, we're ninja now. As Kiba approached them, Sasuke rolled his eyes and said, Hey, if my sister wants to cry, let her cry. She got up by herself and dried her eyes, saying, Manami. I'm sure they don't know what they're talking about. As Kiba departed, Manami picked herself up and said, I guess you're right. Sorry to cry, you guys. I'm just feeling a little emotional right now. Where is he going? I wonder. She turned to face Naruto when he tapped her shoulder. Manami blinked as he said, Gramps wants to see you in his office. Something about the teams. The Hokage. Would you like to see me? Now what did I do? Sakura approached them. Manami turned to go, saying, maybe he has different plans for you since you were the odd one out. Everyone got released early, so don't worry about coming back to the academy. I'll see you at home, Naruto stated when she departed. I'm hoping the Hokage won't drive me insane. Manami approached the Hokage's tower and began climbing. She heard conversations as she ascended. Is listening in on them a negative thing? Perhaps. When she reached the door, she heard a sound that completely upended her universe. Sir Hokage. We can't let those demon spawn of twins near each other. That devil fox will rise up again. We have to get rid of one of them, and I'm placing my bets on the girl. Manami screamed. Do you want to get rid of me? Why? The fox of the devil? The Hokage sighed as she saw him. We can't just get rid of her. I promised her parents I would look after her. I'll make sure she doesn't get placed on Naruto's team to keep the village safe, but I see no reason to get rid of her. I'm glad Sir Hokage is on my side. But Sir Hokage, fine, I'll get rid of her myself, Manami said as he got to his feet and opened the door with trembling hands. When she entered, everyone within froze. Manami, hello. Manami avoided looking at anyone and dropped her head low. Why? Why do people despise us? She glanced up at the Hokage slowly. Gramps. Why does everyone hate us? Can you please tell me that much? Manami tightened her fist once more as the Hokage hesitated. Feeling discouraged, she turned back to the earth. She broke down in tears and turned to face the Hokage, saying, everyone always looks at us that way, or says mean things about us. Kids at school are so mean and always talk about beating us up, so please, just tell me I can't take it anymore. Manami began to cry, but the Hokage chose to ignore her. She dried her eyes and turned away, saying, fine, if you all hate me, then. Manami said, I'll just leave forever, as the Hokage cried after her as she bolted out the door. As long as she was away from everyone, Manami didn't give a damn where she went. She kept running till she was far enough away. She chose to climb the trees after taking a look around. I'll just spend some time here. She simply observed everything while perched on a branch. Kiba was spending time with Hinata and Shino. This won't be too horrible, I suppose. I had hoped to be paired with Manami. She's in my hands all the time. Sakura, Sasuke, and Naruto hurried up to them as they were entering the town. Kiba. Thank goodness I found you, Naruto said, grabbing his shoulders. What, Naruto? Kiba pushed him away, and Naruto knelt down to plead. Why is he acting this way? It's my sister, Manami, Kiba. She's gone missing and I can't find her. The Hokage said she ran off and he can't find her either. Kiba's world was motionless. Manami? Absent? What made her flee? Akamaru leapt from his head to the floor. He began to sniff about. What's that, Akamaru? Akamaru barked as he glanced up at Kiba. That's good boy, Kiba said, turning to face them. Sakura exclaimed, her eyes full of love. Akamaru says her scent is everywhere, but there's 3 scent trails to follow. Sakura. You and Sasuke go that way, Hinata and Shino go that way, and Naruto, come with me. While Sasuke complained in frustration. Because Manami was a close friend, Sasuke continued to follow Kiba's instructions. Naruto and Kiba followed Akamaru's scent, while Hinata and Shino fled in the route Kiba indicated. Naruto exclaimed, I don't even know why she ran off. The Hokage won't tell me anything, as they dashed in the direction of the scent. Naruto. I'm sure she's fine. We'll ask once we see her. Akamaru stopped dead in his tracks as they approached a clearing in the jungle. Has he located her? Naruto began searching for his sister. Naruto yelled out for his sister, Manami, hey. Please, I need you. Say something. Kiba sniffed her out with his nose. He followed it to a branch of a tree. You got it. He gave Naruto a shoulder tap. Kina pointed to a sniffling Manami and said, Naruto, she's up there. Grinning, Naruto gave Kiba such a strong hug that when he released him, he toppled down. Manami heard her brother calling to her when she was sniffling on a limb. Manami, hey. Please, I need you. Say something. She continued to sniffle while wiping away her tears. Naruto. How can I tell him about this? As she was about to descend, Akamaru, Kiba, and Naruto materialized beside her. She was so shocked that she stumbled off the tree. Ka. Before she could fall, Kiba grasped her hand. She blushed after making hand contact with Kiba and sighed with relief. I can no longer suppress my emotions. Does Hinata feel this way about my brother? Minami pulled Kiba into him while holding onto her hand. Kiba sounds adorable when she says, "Don't fall now Minami, we just found you." Minami was so engrossed in her romantic fantasies about Kiba that she overlooked her brother Naruto's growing rage at the situation. Kiba needs to stop touching my younger sister. They all returned to the forest floor after Naruto grabbed her from Kiba. What the hell Naruto? I wasn't hurting her. Naruto scowled at Kiba while clutching his sister. Minami blinked and got up by herself. Kiba, she's too young for boys, leave her alone, she exclaimed. Naruto crossed his arms and sighed at her, saying, Naruto, we're the same age. I still don't trust him. Minami chuckled uneasily and stumbled a little, while Kiba merely snarled at Naruto. Minami. Minami turned to face Sakura, Sasuke, Hinata, and Shinny. The number of people searching for her embarrassed her. Were all these folks concerned about me? Sasuke gave her a head flick. Sasuke reprimanded her, saying, You made me worried stupid. Why did you run off? Sakura scowled at Minami for being too near to Sasuke, while Naruto and Kiba snarled at Sasuke for injuring Minami. Shino and Hinata were merely there to provide moral support. She threw herself on Sasuke, pleading, I'm sorry Sasuke, forgive me. Then Sasuke attempted to shove her. I don't do hugs Minami. Let go. Sakura began tugging on Minami, causing them to tussle. Minami said, let go of Sasuke, at last. After picking her up, Naruto tossed her over his shoulder. Minami said, start talking or I'm never letting go, and attempted to escape. Naruto pulled her down and she felt lightheaded. Fine, let me go, she exclaimed. To keep Minami motionless, Hinata clung to her arms. As Minami explained what had transpired in the Hokage's office, Hinata nodded and said, Thank you Hinata, you're so kind. Naruto said, What? Where's the guy at? I'll beat him senseless, and began sprinting in the direction of the Hokage's tower. Kiba simply touched her shoulder. Minami melted into his hand as he said, It'll be fine, Minami, I would never let anything happen to you. No, Minami. Bad. He's just making me feel charming. Minami thanked Kiba for her sweet remarks and shook her head. Shino simply waited for Kiba to get home on foot. Kiba and Shino said, Well, we're off. Bye girls, as they departed. The only person still with Minami was Hinata. Minami, let's go get some ramen. Minami agreed and left with Hinata, hoping that her brother wouldn't act strangely in the Hokage's office. Minami slept soundly till her door opened. Minami, wake up, and watch your awesomely heroic smart big brother go on his first mission. Minami was frightened and leapt out of bed, landing on the ground. Minami complained, Owie. Naruto. As Naruto fled, Minami rose from the ground with a heavy sigh. Naruto, jeesh. Then she reached for a black tunic and black shorts. She wore a blue crewneck with the Uzumaki clan emblem on the back over the tunic. This is adorable. Minami yawned and made her way to the restroom. When she opened it, Naruto was attempting to style his hair. Minami entered and picked up her hairbrush, asking, What are you doing Naruto? Naruto began striking poses in front of the mirror. I wanted to look cool for my mission. Minami chuckles nervously at him. Oh my goodness. Minami's lengthy hair was brushed and braided. Lord Hokage claims that I adore having long hair because it makes him think of my mother. After finishing, Minami went to get an apple to eat. As Naruto dashed outside with his luggage in hand, she snatched her apple. Naruto grabbed her hand and said, Come on Minami. I want you to see me off. She dropped her apple on the counter. When I return, at least, it will be there. Minami allowed Naruto to drag her along. The others were waiting for him when they eventually arrived at the gate. Sakura sighed, finally Naruto, while Kakashi gestured to Minami. Sakura curled her fist at Minami as Sasuke asked, Why are you here Minami? Minami, I curse you. Why Sasuke likes you so much is beyond me. I own him. Minami was finally able to recover from Naruto dragging her throughout the town. Naruto stood triumphantly and said, Naruto insisted I see him off on his first mission. Who's this other brat? I don't want her near me, she looks weak, exclaimed the elderly guy. Naruto became enraged and struck the man with his fists. Hey, that's my sister you're talking to, punk. You want a piece of me? Kakashi exclaimed as he grabbed Naruto by the collar. Team 7 departed, and Minami headed back through town. Bye Minami, I think the Hokage has a mission for you too. What task does the Hokage have for me, I wonder? I've been undergoing a lot of training from him. I have also been researching the jutsu of the Uzumaki clan. I am more knowledgeable in taijutsu than I was previously. Lord Hokage wanted me to be skilled in hand-to-hand fighting. Additionally, I've been honing my chakra control. Lord Hokage claims he can't tell me anything more about that. I've also experimented with wind release and fire release. I've decided on fire release because Lord Hokage told me to concentrate on just one for the time being. I've attempted wind release previously, but I still read up on it and am familiar with the hand signals. Fire release. Phoenix Sage Fire technique is what I am aware of. It took me some time to go down that one, and Lord Hokage had to assist me. I can accomplish that even if I'm not a master or anything. Additionally, I am familiar with the fire release, Mist Blaze dance technique. According to Lord Hokage, it would be preferable if I attempted to become proficient in these methods first. Additionally, cooking will be quite simple if I can open my cafe. While traveling to the Hokage's tower, Minami daydreamed about her cafe, bakery. I will most likely wear this outfit forever because I adore it. I'm relieved to learn what transpired with the man who also threatened me. My scream didn't bother Lord Hokage, who informed me that the man was currently on probation. When Minami eventually reached the tower, he began to ascend. Abruptly, her stomach ached from not eating. I curse you, Naruto. Minami opened the tower's door with tears in her eyes and grinned slightly at Lord Hokage. Minami blinked and entered, saying, "Why good morning Minami, I have your mission." The Hokage gave her an envelope and said, "Good morning Lord Hokage, what's my mission?" The Hokage got up and waved someone in, asking, "What's this?" This child got lost on the way to the land of blue. His name is Koyahu Anji. His father is an elite there, so you must be carefully not to let him get hurt. That envelope is just a formal letter from me to him. Return the child and give his father the envelope. I stared as a kid came in. He was sniffling with a blue teddy bear and appeared to be no older than 5. He wore elegant clothing and had short brown hair. "I want my mommy," he exclaimed. "What a poor boy, you must be terrified." Koyahu went to the Hokage, who grinned and said, "But Lord Hokage, I can't go alone. Don't I need a Junin to come with me?" Minami simply glanced down at the youngster and then back up at the Hokage, saying, "As my pupil Minami you must be better than the rest. The rest have Junin to make sure they don't die. You can't die because then it reflects bad on me." The Hokage turned to Minami and said, "The land of blue is about a 2-night hike there and back." Minami agreed and grabbed up the young kid, saying, "So you better go get packed up to leave." She said, "I won't let you down Lord Hokage," before heading away. At her and Naruto's apartment, Minami and Koyahu were present. Koyahu asked Minami, "What is this place?" Minami completed packing a suitcase and they both made their way to the gate. "This is where I live Koyahu, with my brother Naruto. I'm just grabbing some things then we'll be on our way." Team 8 was one of them. "Why are they here, I wonder?" Minami approached them. Minami said, "Hey guys," while Koyahu ducked behind her. She nodded as Kiba said, "Hey Minami, you on a mission too?" Kurenai-sensei exclaimed, "I'm returning this little cutie back to his father in the land of blue." Minami chuckled uneasily and said, "Be careful Minami, there's been some rumors of bandits. Why isn't there a Junin with you?" Kurenai-sensei's eyes were somewhat wide. "Since Lord Hokage is my sensei, he said I don't need one." Minami bid Hinata farewell as she departed, saying, "Well if that's what Lord Hokage wants. I wish you luck." She attempted to bid Shino farewell, but he refused to engage in conversation. "Now, let me embark on my first task, nothing could go wrong." Trying to build a fire without burning everything on fire was the first night at Minami. "Please hurry up." In the tent she set up, Koyahu was. "I suppose there won't be a fire tonight. We should be alright until the morning because Koyahu has already eaten." Koyahu emerged from the tent with drowsy eyes. Minami grinned and joined him in the tent, saying, "Miss Minami? I'm cold." He received my pink sweater with a strong nod, saying, "Come here, I have an extra sweater you can wear. It mighty big on you though. He's adorable." Then he curled up in the tent once more. He yawned and gave a quiet nod. "Good night Koyahu, I'll be right outside if you need anything." I'll let him sleep. I need to look about me. Minami took a short stroll around the tent. I see no one. It's good, I suppose. To get her stuff, she entered the tent. I'm really hungry. Somewhere in here, I have some pre-cooked meat. A rustle in the bushes caught Minami's attention as she looked around her luggage. What was that? She abruptly stopped what she was doing and went to seize Koyahu. Even when she grabbed him, he remained unconscious. I understand how he got lost. After placing Koyahu on her back, Minami located a rope in her backpack to secure him to her. I can't take the chance of losing him. She took money and medication out of her bag and resumed her stroll. I don't know what was rustling, but I won't take a chance. Minami heard a conversation while she strolled. Minami's senses were sharpened. She's getting away. Shut the fuck up. She's going to hear you. You two stop arguing, we just need to get the kid from her. Are there 3? Yes, I have 3 males behind me. Okay, Minami. You prepared for this? Minami accelerated and began to run. I might be able to outrun them. I'll try it. Minami continued to flee, but she could hear the men pursuing her. Minami shivered. No need to run, little miss thing. We'll treat you nicely, she said. Abruptly, she saw 1 man behind her and 2 males in front of her. As the 2 men attempted to grab her, Minami leapt, get her, and they collided. By now, Koyahu had woken up and exclaimed, damn you. Minami? What's going on? Minami turned him to look at her. He nodded and buried his face in her shoulder, saying, I have a promise to keep you safe, so I am. Minami scowled and made hand gestures, saying, get the fucking girl, you morons. Fire release. Phoenix Sage fire technique, she said, sending fireballs flying at the men. Minami took advantage of this diversion to go. That should keep them off my back. Perhaps. Minami kept running till she was unable to hear them. It was really close. The sun had already risen when she looked. The land of blue should soon be near. To get things along more quickly, Minami kept carrying Koyahu. I believe I see the gates. The gatekeeper stopped her as she ran up. Halt. Who goes there? Name and business. Minami put Koyahu down. My name is Minami Uzumaki. I'm from the village of the Leaf and I've bought Koyahu Onji home. 2 people sobbed as the gates abruptly opened. My sweet Koyahu, exclaimed a woman with short pink hair. Koyahu cried out, Mommy, as he rushed to them. Minami was approached by a man with long brown hair. He took hold of her hand and covered it with his own. Minami simply grinned and gave him a letter from the Hokage. Thank you, young miss, for bringing my dear son Koyahu home, he said. This is an official letter from the Hokage. He went to his son and praised Minami once again. Please let us know if you need anything before you go, the woman exclaimed. Minami applauded. They nodded and welcomed her into their town. Yes. I would love some food for the journey back home, she said. Minami said goodbye to them after obtaining food and a new rucksack. I'm happy everything turned out. I hope I never run into those bandits again. Minami awoke beside the sun. What a lovely day. She stood up and began preparing for the day. She really liked the clothing she had on last, so she threw it on. Today, she chose to wear her hair down. She didn't see anything wrong with it because it only extended slightly past her butt. She noticed books and scrolls all over the place when she left her chamber. What am I going to do with you, Naruto? She began to pick them up after shaking her head. After that, she started preparing blueberry muffins for breakfast. The favorite of Naruto. He is a developing young man. Naruto must have been awakened by the scent of the muffins because he stumbled out of his room. Naruto yawned and replied, Good morning, sis. As her brother jiggled a milk carton, Minami grinned at him. For what duration has that been left out? He put it back down and began consuming the muffins. Minami approached him and planted a kiss on his forehead. Naruto groggily bid his sister farewell as she departed, saying, I've got to go, Naruto. The Hokage wants me at his office. What would the Hokage like to discuss with me? I wonder. Minami observed this trio of teenagers while skipping around town. These are people I've never seen before. Minami approached them. The girl with blonde hair scoffed at me and said, Hello? Are you guys lost? I've never seen you here before? Minami continued to smile and blinked at Lowlife, saying, We don't need any help, Lowlife. She fell when a man with a painted face pushed by her. Minami stood up and brushed herself down, saying, Yeah, don't talk to strangers. I suppose they didn't require assistance. She then noticed the final members of the gang. A boy with red hair carrying a gourd on his back. He simply gazed at her, and she returned the stare. Perhaps this is hello, from his own country. The boy folded his arms. He asked her, "Why are you looking at me?" When he spoke, the other two appeared to stiffen. Did they fear him? Minami raised her hands in the boy's direction. Minami began to giggle nervously as the kid continued to stare at her. "I'm not trying to be rude or anything. You guys just seem new and I wanted to ask if you needed any help. Honest," she said. The boy answered, "Fine, but don't let it happen again," and turned to leave. After catching their breath, the other two trailed behind him. What's happening today? Minami dashed up the stairs to the Hokage's tower. She opened his door as soon as she arrived. "Good morning, Lord Hokage," she exclaimed with joy. As she entered, the Hokage grinned. Minami nodded inquisitively as the Hokage gave her paperwork. "Good morning, Minami. You're probably wondering why you're here. What is the purpose of this?" She looked up at him, and he grinned. Minami gazed at the documents and said, "That's for the Chunin exam. It's an exam for all you young ninja to prove yourself." The Hokage bowed and took a seat again, saying, "Prove myself? You really think I have what it takes?" Minami grinned and lay on her stomach on the ground, saying, "Truthfully, I think you're ready for much more than that. You've shown great skill, Minami." "I'll fill this out now then," she said, kicking her feet while filling it out. The Hokage gave her a loving grin. "Brings back memories of my kid's early years." The Hokage saw Minami and was struck by how mature she had become. He had seen the twins grow up, but he was unaware of how quickly time had passed. "I recall their infancy. Observe them now as they head to the Chunin exam." Minami returned the paperwork to the Hokage, who cleared his throat. "Thank you, dear. Now I have a scroll I want you to read. It's the scroll for fire release jutsu and here's another for wind release. I've written down everything you need to know in here. If you need any other information, you can find it at the library, but what is in these scrolls you cannot find anywhere." The Hokage gave Minami these scrolls and she gazed upon them. Did the Hokage write these himself? What a privilege. She gripped them firmly. "Thank you, Lord Hokage." The Hokage gave her a messenger bag while grinning. Minami shouted with excitement and gave the Hokage a hug, saying, "You forgot this here last time." The Hokage hugged her back and hurriedly placed the scrolls inside for protection. "I thought I lost this forever." "Thank you, Gramps," she exclaimed. To locate Naruto, she dashed down the stairs. How thrilling is this? Then, without the red-haired boy, she saw a scene of the two people she had previously met. Konohamaru was being held up by the man with the painted face. Minami sprinted over. "Put him down," she exclaimed as they all turned to face her. "Hey, it's the lowlife from Iriler," exclaimed the girl with blonde hair. Minami gave a little growl. She said, "Put down the honorable grandson," but they ignored her. What's wrong with these folks? Naruto was also becoming enraged. "Hey, stop. Let go of him," Minami said, glancing at their headbands. "They're not from this village." Minami gasped and approached him, saying, "Let's play with them before the strict one comes around." Minami grabbed Konohamaru and cried, "Let go of him." The man with the painted face mocked her. "What a lively punk." Minami was now furious. "Whoa, am I a punk? The Hokage's grandson is being attacked by you." Minami did her best to cling to Konohamaru. Naruto attempted to charge him, but the man simply slapped him aside. "Listen, you two. I don't care how high and mighty you think you are, but you cannot harm the Hokage's grandson." Minami shouted again. Abruptly, the man with the painted face gave her a curious glance. Hokage's grandson. The man dropped Konohamaru as a rock was hurled at his hand. Minami was clinging to him when he fell back onto her, causing her to land on the ground. When they all looked up, they saw that Sasuke had thrown the rock. "What do you think you're doing in someone else's village, you?" Sasuke is clearly trying to win over more girls. With a groan, Minami stood up. Naruto nodded, "I'll go let the Hokage know," as she bolted. Minami stormed through the doors of the Hokage's tower. She gathered her breath and the Hokage waved at her. "Lord Hokage," she said as she cleaned herself and entered. Minami fiercely crossed her arms and said, "Minami, what do I have the pleasure?" The Hokage frowned and finished his paperwork. "Some different ninja are here and they attacked Konohamaru. I thought I would let you know since they're here to visit." Minami released her crossed arms and simply gazed at the Hokage, saying, "Those were probably ninja from all around. They've all come here for the Chunin exam." The third Hokage bowed and said, "What? You mean to tell me I have to compete alongside them?" "Sometimes you're going to see things in life you don't want to see, Minami. Konohamaru getting hurt is one of them. I didn't know these ninja coming in were going to be so mean towards the people of this village, but that's why students like you and Naruto are out there to defend them. Minami replied. Minami nodded once more and headed home, saying, now, go home and study up on those scrolls, okay? When Minami noticed Akamaru sprinting in her direction, she began to walk home. Grinning, she lifted him up. She exclaimed, what a cute baby boy, while Akamaru licked her face. Minami clutched Akamaru, who wriggled into her crew neck and protruded at the top. Who's a good boy? You are, she said. He's hanging out, which is adorable. Where is Kiba? I wonder. Minami began searching for the youngster who resembled a dog and found him at a dango vendor. Dango on a stick sounds delicious right now. Minami approached him grinning. Glancing down at his dog, Kiba smiled back. What a fortunate bastard, he went there. I was curious as to why he fled. Minami removed Akamaru from her blouse and began caressing his face. Hey Kiba, I haven't seen you for a bit. Akamaru is the cutest little pup ever. I just love him, she said. Kiba continued to gaze. What a fortunate bastard. Minami returned Akamaru to Kiba. Minami was delighted by the invitation and put her arms around Kiba's waist. Well Minami, you can come by the hospital or to my house where my clan lives. There's always tons of dogs and puppies at both of them. You're simply the best Kiba. Kiba's face flushed, but she reciprocated her love. Minami released his grip and licked the dango sticks. Kiba trailed behind her as she approached the stand. I'm so hungry. 2 dango sticks please. The vendor growled at her. Minami's smile wavered as she gazed at the man serving dango. Get out of here you devil child if you know what's good for ya, she exclaimed. Wah. He dumped water on her out of the blue. Minami recoiled from the unexpected shock. Kiba yelled, what the hell man? What kind of vendor are you? At the man. Kiba and the merchant got into a fight. Minami was furious. Not just any kind of anger. It felt strange. What is this sensation? I want to tear his head off. Do it. Manamiya rip off his head. Minami leapt to his feet and surveyed his surroundings. That voice what the devil was it? Minami made an effort to remove water from her hair. Kiba turned and seized Minami's shoulders, yelling, I'll never do business here again and tell everyone I know not to either. Minami nodded and trailed behind Kiba while holding Akamaru. Come to my house Minami, my mom cooks up the best meals. What was the voice, I wonder? Later, I'll question the Hokage. Minami hurried over to the testing facility. She was eager and prepared. I'm very excited. The Hokage and a few Junin were inside when she dashed in. Minami gave a startled blink. What's happening here? Minami approached inquisitively. Minami grinned at the Hokage and said, Minami, I'm so glad you could make it, my star pupil. You're a special case here since the exam only allows teams of 3 to enter. I've made an exception for you. You've shown me that you're ready and more than capable of doing your best. Minami giggled at the Hokage's statement. She ran and gave him a hug. I'll do my best, Gramps, the Hokage said with a smile as he guided her to the door. Minami rushed inside the room and saw that everyone was staring at her. Good luck then. There are a lot of attractive people. I'm hoping to defeat a few of them. Then Kiba approached her. She grinned and gave him a high five. Minami, I was wondering when you'd get here, she exclaimed. Kiba glanced at her, startled. Yeah, the Hokage just let me in. Minami was also perplexed and asked, why would the Hokage let you in? Since he is my sensei? Minami grasped Kiba's hand with both of her hands. Kiba was taken aback as she said, because he's my sensei Kiba? I was an odd one out for teams, so the Hokage decided to take me under his wing himself. Minami laughed as the doors opened once more and her brother Naruto and comrades entered. That's an honor, she said. The number of people in the room also appeared to surprise them. Minami simply rushed over to give her brother a hug. Naruto. I've missed you. Ino threw herself on Sasuke as Naruto happily gave his sister a hug in return. You're finally here Sasuke. I thought I'd be able to see you for the first time in a while, so I was waiting in excitement. Sasuke's expression made it clear to Minami that he didn't want Ino on him. Minami put a hand to her face and sighed. Sadly, Sasuke has always been a ladies' man yet has no desire for a woman. Sakura pointed at Ino with the irate expression on her face. Minami just said, get away from Sasuke Ino pig, and turned to go. When Sakura acts that way, I detest it. It's always so annoying. I suddenly sound like Shikamaru. With a sigh, Minami took a seat beside the lad with the red hair once more. He remained silent, so she took the seat. "Oh, hello again. Can I sit here?" she said. When Minami heard Naruto from behind, she ignored him. She looked over and saw him shouting. "Whoa!" The man they were speaking to was then ambushed by 3 sound ninjas. "This is a place where you can attack people. I'd better step it up." Minami listened intently to everyone, her senses sharpening. There was smoke all of a sudden. "Listen up, you baby-faced degenerates!" Minami exclaimed as the smoke cleared, revealing a group of people gathered around a single man. Minami gritted her teeth and said, "Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm Ibiki Morino, proctor for the first test of the Chunin exam. This man appears frightening. His face is covered in scars." Sensei Ibiki gestured to the rear. "First off, you. The sound ninja. Who told you could fight? Knock it off. You oughta be failed before we've even begun," Minami said, turning to face the sound ninja. The eerie, bandaged person turned to face Sensei Ibiki. Minami turned back to Sensei Ibiki and said, "Sorry, it's out first time. Guess we were a little jumpy, sir." Minami saw his expression worsen as he said, "I'll say this once, so listen up. There will be no combat. No attacking others without permission from your proctor. Even then, fatal force is strictly prohibited." "Oh no, I wouldn't want to offend him." Minami turned to face the boy standing next to her, who gave her a sneer. She swore she would never look at him again as she swiftly turned around. These frightening individuals. He glanced down at his paper and said, "Now if we're ready we will proceed with the Chunin exam." "What did I do?" "Minami Uzumaki. Please stand up and walk up to the front with me." Minami swallowed and obeyed. This was something she detested. She occasionally gets teased since she is a little shorter than Naruto. Minami looked back at Naruto shakily and said, "Please hand over your paperwork and you'll be given a number. This number will tell you where you'll sit for the written test." Minami frowned and said, "No, not a written test," as he looked down. "Naruto, poor thing. I'm hoping he does well." Each person received a written test and a number. Minami observed everyone taking a seat. Someone asked, "How come Pipsqueak up there doesn't have to sit down with the rest of us?" The others laughed. Minami grinned as he glanced up at Sensei Ibiki. "Listen up. Minami can't take this test because her sensei is Lord Hokage himself. She is exempt from taking the test," she said, causing many to either gasp or scowl. Minami sank to the ground. Ibiki lifted her up again. "Minami. No room for fainting," she nodded and swallowed. Minami was a little perplexed and said, "Sorry sir, I just don't understand why I'm being exempt just because Gramps is my sensei. Since the Hokage is my sensei, wouldn't they want me to take the test?" Ibiki gave her 5 papers while grinning once again. "I didn't say you weren't taking a written test at all. These are 5 front and back, specially written tests that the Hokage wrote himself. If you pass this you'll be able to move on to the next part of the exam." Minami took the documents. The others began to giggle once more. After saying, "And if anyone makes fun of her for having the Hokage as her sensei I'll be giving you more papers," they straightened up. Ibiki faced Minami once more. Minami nodded as 2 Junin accompanied her, saying, "Since you're taking a different test you'll be in the room adjacent." As she sat down to begin the test, the Junin laughed at her. "I guess this is okay. I got this. Gramps believed in me," she said. "Okay. First question. Out of all the Junin, who is my favorite?" Minami struck the table with her head. "I'm Doom," she complained. "Now let's consider why this is a question at all. Let's put on our thinking caps. Who spends every day with the Hokage? He doesn't seem to have a right-hand man. Oh no, he treats everyone equally. I'll just write down, because of this, he is a good Hokage. Okay, good sailing. The second question, what did I eat for breakfast yesterday?" What are these questions? Once more, Minami banged her head against the table. Poor girl. I wonder the questions are. Yeah, I was wondering that too. The Hokage wrote this today and wouldn't let anyone see it. Minami raised her head again. Let's do our best. Okay. Nearly to the final query. When one of the Junin caught Minami's eye, she went to write. She blinked and read the question. You have 5 minutes before the last question, Minami. What do you want out of life, Minami? In 20 years, where do you see yourself? Minami gave a blink. I mistook this exam for one about the Hokage. All I had to do was respond when it was time for his bath. Minami's head hung down. If he wants this, that is, to protect Naruto, I would desire to develop into a powerful shinobi. I want to open my own bakery or cafe copyright and marry someone who values and loves me. Whether I have children, I want the village around me to treat them with love. I want everyone to accept Naruto and me and live in harmony. I envision myself there in 20 years. The Junin grinned at Minami as she dotted her response. Minami nodded and asked, "Are you ready for the final question?" The Junin grinned at her. Minami froze, saying, "There's some rules to this final question. Guidelines? For a single query? Rule number 1: you can choose whether you take the final question or not. If you choose not to take it, then you get a 0 and fail." Minami was perplexed. Why would I decide not to take it if I failed? That is just nonsensical. Also, if you do choose to take the final question but answer it incorrectly, you'll be banned from taking the exam ever again. What? I'll be prohibited. I would be sparred if I left now and could try again, but I would never be allowed to retake the Chunin exam if I stayed and answered incorrectly. Minami played with her hair. How would the Hokage respond? Minami abruptly paused and got to his feet. "So, you choose not to talk. You didn't let me speak," Minami interrupted, gesturing to them. Minami's statement, "I am the pupil of the third Hokage. I don't waver. I am the best and I will pass this test," stunned the Junin. Minami was taken aback when they burst out laughing, and she exclaimed, It." Alongside her, the Junin stood up and extended their hands. Minami blinked and sat down again. "Then congratulations. You've passed the first test," he said. What?" They burst out laughing again. Minami grinned and leapt back up. "You've passed. The Hokage will personally read your test, but considering your determination to make him proud passes you," he exclaimed. Minami hurried back into the other room and saw a woman wearing a mesh shirt. "I can't wait to tell Naruto," she said. Minami rushed up to sit next to Naruto and said, "Heads up, boys and girls. This is no time for celebrating. I'll be your next proctor. Anko Midarashi. Are you ready for the second test?" Ibiki came around her flag and said, "Ibiki, there's too many here. You're getting soft. Or maybe there's an exceptional group of ninja this year." "Yes, we are outstanding," Anko grinned. "It doesn't more than half will be eliminated when I'm through with them." "What, over half?" Minami and Naruto headed back to their apartment, saying, "This is gonna be fun. Listen up. You maggots have had it easy so far, but tomorrow I'll have your squad leaders tell you where to meet me." Dismissed. Minami laughed at her brother and got on his lap. "Minami, you never told me what your test was about," she said. They were seated on his bed. Naruto blinked and burst out laughing. "Okay, so, the test was basically about 30 questions about the Hokage and his favorite things and what time his bath is." Minami began to laugh with him. "That's so funny. I didn't even read mine." Minami chuckled nervously at Naruto. "After they are graded, hopefully he still passes." Minami stood up and stretched. "Last one to the kitchen doesn't get any ramen," she exclaimed as she bolted. Naruto yelled, Hey, wait up," and chased after his sister. Minami and Naruto strolled to their designated location the following day. Minami exclaimed, "What the?" and said, "What is this place? These trees are enormous." Anko was direct. Minami gasped and gripped Naruto, saying, "This is the second location for the exam. It's the 44th Battle Training Zone. But we call it the Forest of Death. The Death Forest. How am I going to live? No, I am a student of the Hokage. I can't pass away." Naruto questioned her. "The Forest of Death." Minami turned to face her brother, who wrapped a comforting arm over her. "When we are on the verge of death, how can you protect me? My big brother is the finest." Minami simply gave him a side hug. Minami saw a box approaching them as she stood behind Naruto. "You know? Is that strange?" Minami approached Kiba and his party as Naruto began to leave. The box chased after Naruto as he moved. "That is really strange. That box is chasing him, but why?" Kiba said, "Naruto sure brings the crazies out, huh?" Minami turned to face him, grinning. Minami took one of his hands and said, "I guess so, hey." Kiba's face flushed slightly. Kiba scratched the back of his head and averted his gaze, saying, "You do good out there, okay?" Of course I will," Minami said, turning back to Naruto. "We're on official business. Yeah, we're here to do an interview." "Oh my god." Anko approached them. Naruto and the children turned to face her and said, "Hey, you're holding up the exam, what are you doing?" Anko stroked the back of her head and said, "Sorry, Konohamaru was telling me about an interview for the Academy newspaper." Minami nodded and saw that she was still holding hands with Kiba. "I forgot Lord Hokage did mention something like that. Alright, we'll be talking a 10-minute break. If you are interviewed, please be courteous of the interviewees." Kiba gazed up at her, and she looked up at him. Both of them released their grip and turned away, their faces slightly flushed. Sorry Kiba. Yeah, don't mention it. Hinata and Shino merely gazed at them. How many times do you think they'll flirt with each other before they ask each other out? Shino asked Hinata. Hinata's face flushed and she began arguing with Shino, saying, "You're not one to talk, Hinata. If anyone even mentions Naruto you lose balance." Konohamaru approached Minami as she and Kiba were waiting. "Just a quick question, Minami. What's it like being the Hokage's only student?" Minami laughed nervously at Konohamaru. Konohamaru wrote, "Well, your grandfather is a great sensei and has taught me all I know. He's given me great courage to be here today," and carried on with the interview. Anko approached Minami. Minami nodded and grinned, saying, "Excuse me Minami, you said the Hokage was your sensei? I was an odd one out in class, so the Hokage took me under his wing." Anko sighed. If only this girl understood the Hokage's desire for her to be a member of her own team. She should be imprisoned indefinitely because she poses a threat. If she and Naruto employ the chakra of the nine-tailed fox, I'm not sure what would occur. I have an idea that could lead to my termination, but for the benefit of the village, I must attempt to get rid of her. Following the interview, Konohamaru and the other two departed. What adorable children. Minami stayed close to Kiba. Naruto then began making fun of the proctor. Naruto, why? Naruto was hit by a kunai thrown by Anko, which scraped his cheek and caused him to bleed. No, Naruto. Kiba grabbed Minami's arm as she started to dash over. Minami. How many times do I got to say this? Naruto needs to grow up on his own. Minami's expression became troubled. I hope you succeed, Naru. Behind Anko and Naruto was a strange snake lady. It's strange. The strange snake lady returned to her squad after they appeared to settle the dispute swiftly. Extremely strange. Minami concealed himself behind Kiba. Kiba will keep me safe. Kiba gave Minami a sigh. She took out a stack of papers and said, "Now before we start this exam I have something to hand out to you all." Naruto took a step forward and said, "Just a standard consent form. Before the test all of you are gonna have to read over this form then sign it." "What for?" "Some of you may not come back from this test and I have to get your consent to that risk, otherwise it would be my responsibility." Anko then began to giggle. "Give me the consent form, please." Minami approached Anko and took one. Anko continued, "Read it carefully, Miss Minami." Minami felt a chill go down her spine. "This test will test every one of your survival skills. First I'll give you all a description of the training zone. The 44 battle training field has 44 locked entrance gates. There are rivers inside and in the middle there's a locked tower. It's in this confined area that you'll undergo this test." Anko grabbed 2 scrolls. "This is an anything goes battle to get your hands on these scrolls. Anything is allowed? As in killing?" The idea made Minami swallow. "There's 26 teams, so half of them will be going after the Heaven Scroll and the other half will be going after the Earth Scroll. I'll hand a scroll to each team and that's what you'll be vying for." "I do not have a team, for me, how does that work?" Sasuke asked Anko. "Okay, so how do we pass the test?" "It sounds simple. Your entire squad must bring both a Heaven Scroll and an Earth Scroll to the tower. Also, you all have a time limit of 5 days. 5 days? My hair, poor thing." Minami caressed her hair while sobbing softly. Choji said, "What are we going to do for food?" Anko put her palm on her hip. "There's plenty to eat in there for all of you. That's not all the forest has to offer. They also have man-eating beasts and poisonous plants." "Aw man!" Choji screamed. Ino gave him a look. "I'll try braiding my hair to keep it from getting too muddy." "Oh shush, that's why they call it survival. Fortunately, I always have extra ponytails on hand." To keep her hair from getting too soiled, Minami braided it into a crown. "I don't want my hair to become dirty since I adore it." "That means only half of the teams will pass," Neji replied. "With the days getting longer and the nights getting shorter, we will have less time to recover. It is a challenge indeed," Lee said. "Constantly being surrounded by enemies." "That's right, and it also measures endurance behind enemy lines. This is designed to be a grueling test and I'm sure some of you won't be up to the challenge." Shikamaru raised his palm in the air. Anko chuckled and said, "So let's say you quit, can you quit in the middle of the test?" "Of course you can't quit in the middle of the battlefield. I guess you could walk out and say, 'I quit,' but it would probably get you killed." Anko glanced at everyone. "There's also ways you can get disqualified. Number 1, if all teammates cannot make it to the tower within 5 days. Number 2. If a team loses a member or the member becomes incapacitated and cannot continue. And absolutely none of you cannot look at the contents of the scroll before you reach the tower. Sounds straightforward enough. There will be times when a ninja will be asked to carry secret documents. The scroll rule is to test your integrity. Okay, we're done. Each team take your consent forms and exchange them for your scrolls over there. After that, each team will pick a gate and head inside. Also, a word of advice, just don't die. Minami grabbed her form and proceeded to line up when Anko halted her. Minami blinked as Anko accepted her consent form and said, I have a special scroll for you. Heavenly Earth was written on a scroll that she gave her. I think I understand what this means. Oh no. Anko seized Minami's shoulders once everyone had received their scrolls. Listen up. This is Minami Uzumaki, sole pupil of the 3rd Hokage. She's on a one-man team. She has a special scroll called the Heavenly Earth Scroll. If any of you don't manage to get a scroll in time, she technically has both. If she keeps this one scroll, she can pass through without needing another one. Minami's eyes widened when she glanced at Anko. Anko gave Minami a sly smile. Yes, it is correct. For the benefit of the village, you will fail this round since I have set a high bar for you. Minami felt the intent as she turned to face everyone. She swallowed and moved to console Naruto. Naruto gave her a tight hug. Anko grimaced at what she saw and said, It's okay Minami, you'll be fine. The fox will return with a vengeance if those two continue. I'm hoping she doesn't survive. Minami swallowed and walked to a gate. Listen up, everyone should have gotten their scrolls by now. Go to your gates and when they open the test is on, he said. Being alone is a little depressing, but I suppose it's unavoidable. I don't have a team to undermine me, at least. Minami reached gate 40 and bided his time. The chains dropped when the Junin at my gate opened it. Alright. Listen up maggots. The second part of the exam starts now. I leapt through the open gate. What am I going to do? I'll be pursued by everyone. I merely need to survive for 5 days, so I think I don't need another scroll. I'll definitely survive with these new skills I've acquired. Day 1. High amid the branches, Minami found a place. This ought to be beneficial. It's likely that there will be more fighting stages. Could I just head directly to the tower? Minami, think, she heard rustling all of a sudden. She looked over and saw a bird. She let out a sigh of relief. Right now, I truly didn't want to fight anyone. Minami reclines on a branch. Yes, I will simply go to the tower. Minami sighed as he sat. This worry has left me exhausted. She stood up and made her way to the tower. It will be simpler if I just stay away from everyone. Then she dropped to the next branch after slipping. Oh no. She heard and gasped, who was that? Excellent, I'll attempt to slip by. Minami moved in the direction of the tower after remaining low enough for the voices to stop. Instead of fighting my way through it, I would much rather reach the tower unharmed. She leapt closer and closer. I don't need to continue fighting out here. Minami arrived at the tower at last. Oh my goodness, I made it without a scratch. When she got inside, she was assaulted. Oh no, I nearly had it. She turned back to face the ninja. They were grinning at her. We've been waiting for you, little Hokage. Hand over your scroll, Minami grumbled. No. Kill me and get the scroll. They all chuckled. Minami pulled out a shuriken. They are completely incapacitated by this. She made hand gestures. All right. Fire release. Phoenix Sage Flower Nail Crimson. She exclaimed as she hurled the flaming shuriken. I'm running away. She dashed to the door of the tower and dashed inside. I'm glad I made it. I didn't want to fight at all. She arrived at this sign. Earth and heaven. Huh? Should I open it now, I suppose? Minami unfolded the scroll. Well? What? Oh. Smoke? More smoke came, and she dropped the scroll in shock. The Hokage appeared out of nowhere. Hokage, Lord? Minami hurried over to give him a hug, and her eyes widened. She was hugged back by the Hokage. Minami laughed as he said, Minami, I knew you could do it, all that training finally paid off. Then he gestured to the doors next to them. Minami applauded and dashed through, saying, Go through those doors, you're more than ready to continue. Glancing around, she noticed Kiba and his group. Cheers! Kiba has arrived. She brushed them aside. Minami said, Hey guys. I'm so glad you all made it in one piece. They all appeared tense. Kiba grabbed Minami behind him and said, Minami, come here. What's going on with him? Abruptly, she noticed the sand ninjas moving through. When the boy with the red hair entered, She saw that Team 8 were tense. Why are they acting that way? Minami forced her way back to the front. Kiba snarled and turned to face Minami, asking, "What's the big idea, Kiba?" Minami gasped and turned to face the Sand Ninja. "That guy is bad news, Minami. We saw him kill 3 people in an instant." She turned to face Kiba when Kiba grabbed her hand. Minami nodded and glanced at their hands, saying, "Please be safe and don't engage with them unless you have to." Should I say anything? Or simply savor this time spent with Kiba? Minami reddened. Hinata nodded when Shino asked, "Are you guys going to flirt all day?" Minami and Kiba said, "You guys would be so cute together," as they blushed and released their hands. Minami covered her face with her hands and said, "What are you talking about, Hinata?" Kiba snarled at Shino, saying, "Shino, what the hell is your problem?" Shino simply shrugged. Minami was relieved to see her older brother alongside her as she queued up in a room with everyone else. "Naruto. Without you, I'm not sure what I would do." She saw the Hokage, the senseis, and all of the proctors. "Hokage, Lord." Minami was glad to see him once more. "All right. The Lord Hokage is going to explain the third exam to you, so you better listen, maggots." Sensei Anko is really personable. Lord Hokage approached us. "First, before I tell you what the exam entails, I want to explain about the test itself. Listen closely now, it's something you all need to understand. I'm going to tell you the true purpose of these exams. Why do you think our country holds these exams in conjunction with our allies? To raise the levels of shinobi and increase friendship among allies, but it's important to understand its true meaning. This test is, so to speak." The Hokage pulled a pipe and blew the smoke away. "A battle between allies." Tenten questioned, "What's the supposed to mean?" Now, if you look at our history, all the countries we are currently allied with were once neighboring nations who continuously fought each other for power. In order to avoid destroying each other's military strength meaninglessly, those nations' champions to do battle on behalf of their counties at a mutually selected location. That's how the Chunin selection exams originally began. Naruto stepped forward. "He makes a valid point, I suppose. Then why do we have to go through these exams? It's not like we have to choose Chunin to go fight." "Well, actually, there is no question that these exams are to select shinobi worthy of becoming Chunin. That's just not the whole story. This place also provides shinobi a place to carry the pride of their nations on their backs and fight against other ninja for their lives. Many leaders and people of prominence from countries are invited to attend this exam as guests and also possibly seek shinobi to work for them. This exam could determine the course of your ninja work for here on out. More importantly, those rulers will watch your battles and take notes of your stinks. What if a mafia leader likes me and assigns me to do awful things? That is too much for me to handle." Minami placed her hands on her head and squatted on her feet. Silently, Kiba extended a hand to her. Minami blinked and grasped his hand. "Minami, here. In case you're nervous or scared, you can hold my hand." Kiba, constantly there to console me when Naruto is unable to. Minami stayed on the ground while clinging to Kiba's hand. "Even so, why is it important for us to risk our lives?" Kiba said. "The country's strength is the village's strength. The village's strength is the shinobi's strength, and the true strength of shinobi is when it's pushed to its limits, such in a life or death battle. This exam is a chance for each country to display the strength of their shinobi, hence the strength of the nation itself. Because this is an exam where your life is on the line and it has meaning. I'm so nervous. I don't want to disappoint Lord Hokage." Minami's teeth were clenched. The third Hokage was abruptly confronted by another Junin, who said, "All right then, listen closely, I'll be telling you the third exam. Lord Hokage, please allow me, Hayate Gecko appointed as proctor for the third exam, speak to them first." "So be it." The guy identified as Hayate carefully rose to his feet and turned to face everyone. "It's nice to meet you all," he said, beginning to cough. He began coughing violently into his hand and said, "There's something, cough cough, I'd like all of you, cough cough, to do before the third exam. I hope he's not infectious. We have to have preliminary exam before you move on to the real one." That rattled everyone. Initial. Why is one of those necessary? Minami eventually stood up, but he kept holding Kiba's hand. "Oh well, you see. The first and second exams might have been too easy. The fact is we never expect so many of you to be here. According to the rules of the Chunin exam, a preliminary can held at any stage in order to reduce the number of candidates remaining." Minami questioned the proctor, "Is that really fair?" "It's just, at this point we gotta speed it up a bit. As Lord Hokage said, a lot of important people will be watching, we can't afford to waste their time." They've come to see only the best. So if there are any of you who feel like you aren't in too physical condition, cough cough cough. He's talking about top physical condition coughing like this. Manami was spiraling once more. Sorry about that, so if any of you don't feel up to it, the preliminaries will begin immediately. I mean, I can do it. I didn't engage in any combat in the forest, but is it truly fair? She was fiddling with her hair so much that all of her long red strands fell out of the braid. The Hokage turned to face his pupil. If only you could see your kids right now, Kushina. They resemble the two of you exactly. Manami was so engrossed in her what-ifs that she failed to notice the gray-haired man leaving. Oh yeah, this will be one-on-one sudden death. So if you don't feel up to it, say it now. What? Has someone really departed? Shall I go? No, it's alright. I'll make it. Now then, there's 22 of you remaining. So that means we'll need 11 matches. The surviving candidates from these matches will go on to the third exam. Great. I hope I don't make a mistake. They looked up, and Manami heard Anko say, "Open the panel. As for the rule, there are none. You'll until one dies or admits defeat. As proctor, I have certain leeway to step in if it looks too fatal to save as many lives as possible. Now let's see what holds your fate." A black screen was then seen when one of the wall panels opened. Everyone watched the board as it decided on two names: Manami Uzumaki versus Sogi Azugawa. Names will be drawn randomly to fight. Before each match, the names will appear on the screen behind me. As there's nothing more to say, let's begin with the first names for the first battle. Manami tightened her grip on Kiba's hand and blinked. I am the first. How should I proceed? Manami was in a panic. With a broad smile, Naruto abruptly embraced her before pulling away. Manami was a little taken aback by the unexpected affection but quickly straightened up. You've got this, sis. I believe in you, she said. Right. Manami turned to face her rival. He smiled eerily at her. He was from the Rain Village. He was dressed entirely in black and had buzz-cut bright blue hair. He's dressed like a killer. This is something we can handle. Manami smiled slightly and released Kiba's hand. Good luck, Manami. Manami nodded and squeezed his hand once more. Manami and Sogi approached, saying, All right, those whose names were chosen come forward. What a tower this man is. I wish I wasn't so little. In her class, Manami was among the tiniest. Manami grinned and extended her hand to her opponent, saying, You two will be the first round match. With a spooky smile, Sogi slapped her hand away. That was uncalled for, she was just being nice, exclaimed Naruto. After everyone had left, just Manami and the Rain Ninja remained. All right, if all others will clear the area and head to the upper stands. I have to prove myself to Lord Hokage now. Manami moved into position. All right, if you two are ready. Go. Manami and Sogi both froze. Manami gasped and maintained her position, saying, Smart girl, if you moved then you would have already been dead. Kiba was observing Manami. Please, Manami, do not perish. Never before have I been so afraid of someone. Do I feel something for her? No, I'm not like that. Naruto was concerned about his sister. Manami, hurry up. I need you. Manami fixed her gaze on her rival. She made a few hand gestures. Fire release. Foxfire. 10 balls of fire emerged. Manami, please concentrate. 2 of the fireballs moved in his direction when she gestured with her hand. As she imagined, he quickly sidestepped them. She continued to look down at him while grinning. I've just thought. I've slowed him down now. Stupid little girl. Manami made more hand gestures as he went in for the kill. He was unable to avoid her onslaught, while she managed to avoid his. She has been training to match her opponent's fireball speed. She will undoubtedly win. The remaining 8 fireballs struck Sogi, causing him to fall. Manami snarled and stood watch. You stupid little Hokage. I hated how the proctors favored you, he said. And how exactly were they favoring me? By being pulled put of the exam room to do 4 times the work in the same amount of time? Or when I was given a heaven and earth scroll causing everyone to come after me? Yeah, that sure sounds like a breeze. But you've got one thing right. Manami did more hand gestures. I am the Hokage's pupil and I don't back down from a fight. Sogi grinned and engaged in hand-to-hand fighting. The Hokage had Manami train her taijutsu alongside Junin, and she easily kept up. Although she's not as skilled as Guy or Lee, she can do it just fine. She attempted a punch but was unsuccessful. Sogi elbowed her in the ribs using this opening. Manami yelled, Ka, as she dropped to her knees. Manami! Exclaimed both Naruto and Kiba. Sogi used hand gestures. Hidden mist technique. Minami observed the entire battlefield turning into a dense fog. Naruto exclaimed, "What is this?" Sasuke said out loud, "I can't see anything. Is Minami even alive right now?" Though he was aware of the deadly dangers of becoming a shinobi, he was becoming more and more concerned for his comrade. "Minami. You've got this!" exclaimed Kiba. Minami attempted to look around but was unsuccessful. "I guess I'll have to come to my senses." She shut her eyes and listened intently to her surroundings. "He's where?" "Well, At last, she located him. She made hand signals while grinning. Wind release. Great breakthrough. She exhaled and cleared the fog. She saw Sogi with a kunai directly in front of her. He jabbed his fingers all over her torso, but Minami leapt back before he could hurt her. "What on earth?" Minami inhaled deeply. She made a few hand gestures. "Sogi, was it? You're over." He gave Minami a perplexed expression. Fire release. Phoenix sage flower nail crimson. He exclaimed as he was struck all over by blazing shuriken. Minami made more hand gestures. Fire release. Mist blaze dance technique. Minami's mouth released a liquid that instantly ignited Sogi. "Ah, I quit, help me." He was ejected by the proctor and the other Junin. Minami triumphantly stood till her mouth started to bleed. "What the?" she exclaimed, coughing up more blood. Sogi burst out laughing. Needles pierced Minami's left arm, leaving her defenseless. "I hit vital points in your organs, little Hokage. I hope you die." "Ninja art. Senbon rainstorm," she said. She managed to get somewhat out of the danger, but her speed was insufficient. In agony, she collapsed to her knees. Minami. While she fought to stand again, Kiba and Naruto rushed to her. Minami shouted, "You're a cheap coward," as they removed Sogi. As Naruto caught his sister, Kiba became concerned. "Minami. Are you okay?" "That bastard." Naruto clung to her while emergency personnel arrived. Naruto set his sister down on the white cloth and declared, "I pronounce Minami the winner of the first round." Naruto was reassured by the medics that Minami would be in capable hands. "Please make sure my sister gets good care. Be safe with her," they said. Kiba grabbed one of her hands and gave her a light squeeze. As they carried her away, Kiba whispered, "I'll see you soon, Minami." At the hospital, Minami awoke. With a moan, she clutched her arm. "Yes, indeed. This is what that sleazy Sogi did to my arm. Well, he was probably prohibited from entering again." Glancing around, Minami noticed Naruto dozing off on a chair next to her. She gave her brother, who was a little older, a gentle grin. "Just a few minutes." She extended her arm and gave him a shoulder tap. Naruto opened his eyes and stirred. "Minami. She's awake." With excitement, Naruto put his arms around his sister. He was overjoyed that she was okay. Minami patted her torso and said, "I'm fine, Naruto. Those healing ninja really did the trick. I swear, magic people. However, I'm curious as to why my arm is in a cast." She stretched a little and shrugged. Then she saw the roses on a table. "What was the duration of my absence?" "Naruto. How long was I out? Whose flowers are those?" Naruto grimaced and abruptly crossed his arms. Naruto complained, "You've been out for 3 days and those flowers are from Kiba." He rose, collected the flowers, and carried them over to Minami. "These flowers are my favorites. The bloom of Kasumosu." "How was that known to Kiba?" Naruto continued to cross his arms and complain. At last, Minami asked him, "What's the problem, Naruto?" Naruto began to pretend to cry on Minami's knee. "I told you to stay away from boys. Now look at, flowers. My poor sweet Minami," he exclaimed. "Whoa. I'm hoping a nurse will arrive soon so I can get out." Naruto stood up and blew his nose. Naruto nodded and went in search of a nurse while continuing to pretend to cry. "Naruto, will you please go get a nurse? I feel good to leave." Minami noticed a letter when she turned to face the flowers again. A message from Kiba. "Let's observe. Please feel better, Minami. These are your favorite flowers, according to Naruto, so I assumed they would cheer you up. Signed, Kiba." Minami blushed a little and put a hand to her face. Kiba made a special effort to find out what flowers I preferred from Naruto. What a charming man. I'm not sure if he's being playful or genuinely kind. Grinning, Minami inhaled the scent of the flowers. Only time will tell, I suppose. Minami and Naruto thanked the nurses as they departed, saying, "No training for 3 more days, all right? Take this special medicine for the 3 days and come back when they're over. I understand you're in the Chunin exam finals, so I want you to heal up nicely." Minami wore a sling on her arm, which was in the same cast. Will the Hokage be offended? I wonder. I did my best. Walking alongside Naruto, Minami let out a sigh. Naruto bolted while Minami maintained her same pace. Well Minami, I've got to go meet up with Kakashi-sensei. Now that you're feeling better I can finally start training. How are Sasuke and them doing? I wonder. Minami approached Sasuke's apartment and rapped on the door. With a gentle smile, Sasuke unlocked the door. Sasuke went outside to say, Minami, I'm so glad you're okay. Hey Sasuke. I just wanted to see how you were feeling. Did you win? I have no idea who won. I'm guessing Naruto won because he said he's off to meet up with Kakashi-sensei for training. Sasuke put his hand in his pocket. Minami chuckled awkwardly at Sasuke, saying, yeah, it's a shame your brother won. I didn't think he was going to make it this far. Yes. I didn't realize they were rivals. I believe that Naruto is the only one who has that perspective. Minami blushed and concealed the flowers behind her back when Sasuke said, are those flowers? They are, but they're mine, so, you can't have them. Sasuke said, giving the girl a strange look. After dismissing her with a gesture, Sasuke returned to his flat. Minami gave him a wave in return, but it was too late. Well, I should probably go see Kiba, and express gratitude to him for the flowers. With a sigh, Minami examined the flowers in her good arm. Sasuke is a chronic questioner. At last, Minami was able to see herself clearly. What happened to my sweater? All I have on is this black tunic. How embarrassing. Minami's chest was a constant source of insecurity. She always questioned whether they would grow any larger, because she didn't have anything for a training bra and all the other girls were wearing them. She used to be teased at school. Minami let out a sigh and wondered if she should go home and change or go straight to Kiba's. She was going to have that choice made for her. Minami noticed Kiba with Choji, Shikamaru, and Neji as she turned the corner. Minami heard her name as she attempted to turn around. Kiba yelled, Minami. Hey Minami, come here, to her. Minami halted and pivoted. Kiba and the other members of his gang approached her. I'm underdressed in front of all these boys, which is terrible. Right now, Naruto would lose it. Minami grinned as Kiba gave her a hug. Kiba grinned and winked at her, saying, I'm so glad you're doing alright. I see you got my flowers. Minami laughed him off, blushing slightly. They both blushed when Shikamaru said, are you two dating or something? What no. We're just close, that's all. Minami and Kiba turned their backs on one another. The others simply watched in shock. While eating chips, Choji remarked, right. Okay, I guess we'll see at their wedding. With Akamaru perched atop his head, Kiba zipped up his jacket. Neji looked across to Minami. Everyone saw the encounter. Maybe before getting married, word of advice. Don't walk around like that, you'll attract the wrong attention. Who let you dress like that honestly? And you've got nothing to show for it. Go home and put some proper clothes on before leaving your house. Disgusting. Neji scowled at her. Minami's eyes began to well up with tears as Kiba snarled at him for speaking to her in such a manner. Neji is really cruel, and I've never even met him before. I'm crying all the time. Kiba exclaimed, Neji, what the hell, man? She just came from the hospital, at him. Shikamaru fell over and said, wow Neji, didn't know you could be so mean. Now she's crying, what a drag. Despite Minami's best efforts, the tears continued to flow. Yeah Neji, munch munch, that's no way to speak to a lady, munch munch, you're gonna die alone. Choji remarked as she resumed eating chips. Minami turned and began to cry as she ran to her apartment. Minami. Kiba shouted after her. Then he glared at Neji. Neji stumbled after Kiba shoved him. Kiba. I was just telling it how I see it. She shouldn't be walking around like that. Kiba snarled at him once again. Neji grinned at Kiba and stood up, brushing himself off. Don't talk to her like that, he said. Kiba simply turned and fled after realizing that confronting Neji was pointless. Did I hit a nerve? Does Loverboy want to go after his sweet? Go tell her to change clothes? After arriving home, Minami locked herself in her room. Not much to show for it. I am aware of my flat chest, yet. That was incredibly cruel. I'm still quite young. I still have room to grow. I'm hoping. Minami sobbed into her pillow after setting the flowers on her nightstand. Kiba arrived at her apartment and entered. Did she overlook locking the door? In her room, he heard her sobbing aloud. Minami. He said as he raced to try the door, but it was locked. Then he began to knock on the door and talk to her. She sobbed and refused to open the door, saying, "Manami, please. Neji is just an asshole. He thinks he's better than everyone else, so he says things like that." Kiba sat down in front of the door and said, "Come on Manami, I can wait all day." After a silent day, Naruto eventually arrived home. Kiba shocked him when he entered. "Kiba, what are you doing in my house?" Naruto asked. The animosity between Naruto and Kiba after their altercation was still present, but it was gradually fading. Kiba rose from the ground and approached Naruto. "Listen Naruto, I saw Manami and ran over to her and..." Kiba described the events, his presence, and Manami's tears. Naruto said, "That punk Neji, I'm so ready to beat him up during the final rounds." With excitement. With a groan, Kiba gestured to Manami's door. Naruto nodded and made his way to the door, saying, "Okay, that's nice and all, but your sister still needs emotional support. Manami, please open the door so your big brother can give you a big hug." Manami tackled Naruto after the door eventually opened. Manami sobbed into his chest as they lay on the ground. Naruto petted her hair and said, "Ah my poor Manami, tell big brother what's the matter." Manami clenched his shirt and kept lying on Naruto. "Am I going to be flat-chested forever?" she exclaimed. The two youngsters remained motionless, unsure of what to say. After getting them both upright, Naruto was at a loss for words. He turned to face Kiba. "Kiba, say something nice about her." The abrupt diversion startled Kiba. He gestured to his own chest and said, What can I say? She's asking about this area." Manami began to cry even more. "You're saying I'll be flat like you boys forever?" Kiba and Naruto exclaimed, startled by her unexpected tears once more. "Kiba please. I can't say anything about that, I'm her brother, that's weird." Kiba stumbled. Naruto complained, "I can't say anything either, I'm not her boyfriend or anything," and shoved him in her direction. "Well, you're the closest she has, so get to it." Kiba collapsed onto Manami, who gave him a hug. Kiba looked up at Manami and said, "Oh, Manami?" Akamaru leapt onto her head as he began gently stroking her hair. Kiba laughed nervously and said, "I'm sure you'll get bigger with age, you're still young and all. This is so embarrassing, my god. I promise that I will beat up Neji later." With a sniffle, Manami rested her head on his chest. "You, sniffle. You really mean it?" Kiba asked with a confident nod. Manami took a step back, dried her eyes, and grinned. "Yes, I do. Now quit your crying, put okay some comfy clothes and let's go get some ramen," she said. "Okay Kiba," she said as she dashed into her room and closed the door. Kiba turned to Naruto, who was furious. Kiba raised his hands in defense, saying, "I know I made you say those things, but I still don't like it. I have to deal with her brother now, oh boy." Manami addressed the third Hokage. "Are you sure this is safe, Lord Hokage?" She had a blindfold on. The Hokage gave his pupil a cunning smile. Manami was a little unsure but trusted the Hokage when he said, "Yes, my dear Manami. This will help you detect things in your surroundings. He would stop any threat that might come my way without my awareness, right?" Abruptly, a rock struck Manami in the back. "Ow!" she exclaimed as she collapsed. "Man, I'm hated by whoever hurled that rock." Manami stood up again, but as soon as she was steady, her shoulder was struck by another rock. Despite the anguish, she continued to stand. "I won't damage my prospects of receiving training from the god of shinobi, also known as the third Hokage." Manami remained motionless and inhaled deeply. "All right, the rock was tossed over there, which only implies..." Manami quickly stepped aside to avoid another rock. The third Hokage abruptly exclaimed, "Listen to the wind Manami, the only way you can master the wind is to become one with the wind." At that moment, Manami realized something. Pay attention to the wind. She began to enter a trance-like state while sitting cross-legged on the ground. The young Uzumaki's approach to this training practice amused the Hokage. At a moment like this, meditating, we'll see whether it works for her. The Hokage swiftly sidestepped a rock that was flung at her. "Oh, okay, how about 2 rocks?" 2 rocks were tossed after the Hokage nodded. Manami abruptly got to her feet and used her kunai to stop the pebbles. "What about something riskier?" Manami skillfully parried 2 kunai that the Hokage personally flung at her. The wind pushed the 2 more that the Hokage had thrown aside to make room for her. "What is this? Did the wind move them for her?" Satisfied with his pupil, the third Hokage approached her. He said, "Manami, you may take off your blindfold." Manami followed his instructions and grinned as she gazed up at him. "That must indicate that I did something correctly." The Hokage touched Manami's shoulder. Manami grinned and complimented the Hokage, saying, "You've done exceptionally well today. Take the rest of the day off, but don't forget to practice your chakra control." He handed her a little leaf. "What is the purpose of this?" Manami picked up the leaf and gave it a curious look. The Hokage pulled out one more leaf. He pressed it to his forehead and said, "Watch." It remained there. Manami gazed with wonder. "How are you doing that?" The leaf began to fall, but the Hokage caught it in his hand when it was pushed aside. Manami nodded and fled, saying, "It's all chakra control, Manami. If you can control your chakra, you can control the leaf." "Bye, Lord Hokage. I'll be sure to practice," the third Hokage said with a loving smile as she bolted. What a vibrant girl. Manami rushed around till she came across Choji and Shikamaru. She waved and smiled as she approached. Manami nervously laughed and said, "Hey guys. Sorry about the other day. I was being a little ridiculous." Shikamaru dismissed her. Choji was munching chips once again when she said, "You're fine." Neji was being an ass. "You looked fine by the way. Why does this boy eat chips all the time?" Manami chuckled uncomfortably as Choji took her hand and pulled her to a barbecue restaurant nearby. "You're fine. Munch munch. Neji is always stuck up. Let's go get some barbecue," she said. "Guys, I really shouldn't." Shikamaru said that I was troublesome and advised me to simply join. "Well, I suppose I should." Manami joined them at a table, and they began to eat. Manami nearly choked on her lunch as Shikamaru inquired, "So, what's with you and Kiba?" "So bold, Shikamaru," he said, shrugging and biting into his meal. Choji nodded in agreement as Shikamaru concluded, "We've seen the way you two have been acting since the Chunin exams started. Are you two dating? Do you like each other? Because Choji and I can't figure out why you two act like that if you aren't a couple." Manami sighed and averted his gaze. Manami was thinking of marrying Kiba when she was older. Well, I think Kiba is really super sweet. He lets me hold his hand when I got nervous or scared, he brought me flowers when I was in recovery, and he even stayed with me all night after Neji was so mean despite Naruto's objections. I believe Kiba would make a wonderful husband, so that doesn't sound all that horrible. Choji gave Manami a sly smile. Manami interrupted daydreaming and flushed, saying, "So, you do like him?" Well, I mean, just admit it, Manami, maybe you two can start dating." Shikamaru joked. With a sigh, Manami set down her portion of the food. "I think Kiba is a very sweet boy who I might see myself dating in the future, but I'm not concerned with dating right now. Yes, I do like him as it is very obvious to everyone, I'm not sure why you guys always bring it up." Manami rose with her arms crossed. As she went, Shikamaru and Choji were a little taken aback by her abrupt shift in mood. Choji took another piece of his dinner and remarked, "Well, at least she admitted it." Shikamaru gave the seat a tap. Kiba abruptly emerged from the booth behind them and asked, "Did you hear that, Kiba? Does she like me?" As he joined the boys, Kiba's face was somewhat flushed. As Kiba joined them in their feast, Shikamaru went on to eat, saying, "Is that all you needed from us?" "Such a drag." Kiba remarked, "I just had to be sure, you know how girls are. They give out bad signals." Akamaru leapt to the table for a small snack. The boys continued to eat as Shikamaru remarked, "She's been giving out pretty good signals the whole time, Kiba. She just said she's not looking to date till she's older, so you have to wait." Manami had a full stomach and a weary head as she made her way home. "Before I exercise my chakra, I'll just take a quick snooze." When she got home to find no one, she yawned. Yes, Naruto is preparing for his fight. After entering, Manami bolted the door. She yawned once more before heading to her room. After laying down, she programmed her alarm to go off in 2 hours. It's a dark night. The following morning, Manami yawned when he awoke. "I had a great 2-hour nap." Manami saw the sun was out as she looked about. "What time is it?" It was the following morning that she checked her alarm clock. How come my alarm didn't sound? With just 2 hours to rehearse before her next meeting with the Hokage, she was in a panic. "That's all right, I'm still able to practice." Manami removed the leaf and placed it on her forehead. "Just concentrate." Manami struck a meditation stance and did her best to concentrate her chakra. The leaf lingered on her forehead for a short while before falling. Manami recognized this would take some time because she was having trouble breathing. Manami was famished after an hour of practice. "We'll see what we can eat." When she entered the kitchen, she saw that there was no food left. "Well, I should definitely go shopping. Manami went to change and departed. She strolled to the neighborhood shop. Just some eggs, ramen, meat, cheese, and veggies, please. That ought to be sufficient, in my opinion. And bread, too. Manami entered and picked up a small basket. The store owner approached her while she was shopping and complained. He shoved her, causing her to fall back. Hey, I don't sell to people like you, he said. What on earth? Manami stood up again and glared at him. She crossed her arms and said, Hey, I'm a paying customer. Why can't you sell to me? The store owner grabbed the basket from her and began pushing her out. She stumbled over her foot as she shuffled out. Manami, she heard, and when she looked up, she saw his sister Kiba, whom she assumed to be his mother. As Manami's relatives began to target the store owner, Kiba assisted him in getting up. Hey, you like pushing little girls. You like acting like a big tough guy. Kiba's mom shouted. The man was snarled at by his sister. Why are you being so cruel to her? We saw everything, you can't lie to us. The store owner exclaimed as he attempted to sweep them away with a broom. Why are you guys on that devil's side? Manami wiped her eyes and sniffed. Kiba snarled at the man while rubbing her back. Kiba said, Come on Manami, let's go to another shop. Manami nodded. Kiba took her hand and they began to go when she said, Okay Kiba, I only needed a few things. Hana nudged her mother to glance at Kiba and Manami, saying, Mom look. Hana nodded in response to her mother's remark, Ah, how sweet. Hey Hana, doesn't she look familiar? Hana murmured to her mother, It's taboo to speak about this but I think she looks like Kushina. Soom's eyes widened. She really does resemble her. I've never met the other twin, but I knew she and the fourth had twins. Hana gave Manami and her brother a whistle. Wow Kiba, didn't know you could pull such a beautiful girl. Manami and Kiba's faces were flushed as his family began to make fun of them. With this foolish leaf on her forehead, Manami sat furiously. Before my bout, the Hokage wants me to sit here and practice. Knowing that the finals are taking place right now makes it difficult to concertant. Manami sighed as the leaf dropped once again. Most likely, I won't even prevail. Whoever is left over from the previous match will face me. Manami became resolute and shook her head. No, I'm going to win. I've been trained by the Hokage. I can't fail. She took up the leaf and sat in a crisscross. As the wind began to pick up the leaf in her hand, she concentrated on it. All I need to do is concentrate more on my advantages. Wind and fire. Right now, it's the only thing I'm truly skilled at. The leaf began to dance in the air after floating off her hand. I must have a target. Glancing around, she discovered a tree. That's right. She inhaled deeply and made a flinging motion with her arm. The leaf abruptly stiffened and struck the tree with such force that it cut through it like a blade. Whoa, I could benefit from this. When you have leaves, who needs weapons? With a sly smile, she faced the arena. I'm here to get paid. Kiba was wondering where Manami was in the stands of the arena. I suppose I should start considering how to use my amazing guy strength to win Manami over. I have to win her brother over first. He doesn't seem to like me too much already. I suppose I'll begin immediately. Hearing applause for Sasuke and Gaara, Manami headed to the arena. She hunched over. Gaara and Sasuke are last. I have to confront whoever wins. Sasuke has a soft spot for me, so maybe I could pull a fast one on him, but Gaara. I have no chance. In a panic, she fully rose up and placed her hands on herself. I need Kiba or Naruto to help me relax. I would ask Sasuke, but it seems like he's in the arena already. A sand ninja halted Manami as he went to the arena. She gave a bewildered blink. She questioned them, what's the big deal? She laughed when someone inquired, what are you doing here little girl? My name is Manami Uzumaki. Don't you know, and I'm going to win my tournament today. She exclaimed as she dashed past them and entered the stadium. That was peculiar. Manami raced through the stands till she came across Kiba. Kiba will do because she was unable to locate her brother. Kiba approached him and sat down next to him, grinning. She cuddled up to Akamaru as he leapt onto her lap. Thanks, Akamaru. I really needed this. I'm so nervous for my fight. Akamaru licked her face and growled. Kiba put a hand on her shoulder and she giggled. Manami flushed at his compliment and huddled closer to Akamaru. You'll be fine. I have good faith in you. Manami rested her head on Kiba's shoulders. As they watched the match between Sasuke and Gaara, feathers appeared all over the place. Manami sat up and said, Kiba. While drifting off, Kiba threw a protecting arm around Minami and said, "Minami. This could be a TR trap." Akamaru also drifted off to sleep. As Kiba succumbed to the falling feathers, Minami blinked slowly and collapsed into her. Minami surveyed the area. "Hello, where am I?" Minami was becoming anxious. She saw nothing when she looked around, but suddenly she heard a voice. She gasped in terror and pulled out a kunai, saying, "Minami. Listen to me, let me free." "Who's there?" she said, scanning her surroundings. A snarl caught her attention, and then large gates materialized. When a large fox emerged from behind the gates, she fell to her knees in terror. "I." She strained to escape. Once more, with greater delight, the big beast snarled at her. Minami blinked and sprang to his feet. "You and your brother will be mine. I will consume you both and regain my full powers," he declared. "Naruto. And me, why do you want us?" she insisted. Water rose up around her waist, and the beast laughed at her. She fought to break free. "Let me go," she cried as the water reached her arms, trapping her completely. She was directly confronted by the beast when it brought her up against the fence. "I don't understand," she cried. She was released by the water and landed on the earth. Then she realized there was water on the ground. She was crying aloud now, unsure of what was going on. Returning with Kiba, Kiba scratched his head after waking up. He attempted to sit up but was unsuccessful. What on earth? He looked over and saw Minami snuggled up next him in a ball. She was holding to his shirt while crying. She began, I. Kiba was worried about her. Never before has he seen her like this. "Kiba, what's wrong with her?" Kiba asked, turning to face Choji, Ino, and Shikamaru. Minami continued to cry more and more, saying, I'm not sure. I just woke up and she was like this." The others were startled when she whispered, Please leave me alone." The others agreed with Ino when she added, "We have to go find Naruto." Kiba got up, while Shikamaru clung to Minami. They then assisted Minami in getting onto Kiba's back. Minami gripped Kiba and gradually stopped crying. If only they were aware of the Hokage's fate. After returning Minami to her flat, Kiba allowed her to spend the night there. She was crying all the time. Kiba waited for Naruto to return outside the door. Naruto was about to cry. Kiba and they had heard the Hokage's news on the way over. Kiba was left in charge of Minami after the others departed on their own. Naruto was confused, and Kiba understood. "Oh, hey Kiba, what are you doing here again?" He was aware that Minami and Naruto were raised by the Hokage alone. Naruto started to cry and wiped them away with his sleeve. Minami wouldn't stop crying about something attacking her, so I brought her back home. "She's in her room," he said. Sorry." Kiba only placed a hand on Naruto's shoulder as he turned slightly away. Naruto simply turned and gave Kiba a hug, saying, "It's okay Naruto. I heard what happened. I'm so sorry." Kiba simply gave him a slow back pat and said, "Thank you Kiba, for always looking out for my sister. It means a lot to me." As Kiba departed, Naruto released his grip and waved, saying, "It's not a problem Naruto." Kiba felt awful as he made his way back to his home. "I'm aware that this isn't how I wanted to win Naruto over." Naruto sat dejectedly in bed. Minami was unable to move from his bed. She could not bear the loss of the Hokage. After getting ready, Naruto went to his sister's room. He gave it a quick tap and opened it. When he looked inside, he saw his sister sobbing uncontrollably while curled into a ball on her bed. Naruto hiccuped and whispered, "Minami." Without turning to face her brother, she whispered, "Why Naruto?" Minami cried, "Why does something like this have to happen? Why did it have to be him? Without the Hokage, what will I do? Now, who will watch out for me?" Minami sensed Naruto sitting beside her. "I'm no sure why things like this happen Minami. They just do. You just have to accept the reality and move on." Minami grunted and rose. "Accept it. Get out. I won't accept this," she exclaimed as she stood up and shoved her brother out her room. With a crash, Naruto hit the hardwood. Minami locked her door after slamming it. "Minami." Naruto stood up and wiped himself. He went to knock once more but changed his mind. All she needs is some time to calm down. With a troubled sigh, Naruto headed to the funeral. Minami swayed in bed. She was unable to come up with an excuse. She hasn't eaten a whole meal since that day, her clothing were filthy, and her hair was so tangled that it was impossible to straighten. "Hokage, Lord, how is Naruto able to accept this?" A gentle knock on her door reached her ears. As it opened to Hinata and Sakura, she sniffed. Surprisingly, she blinked at the girls. What brings them here? In bed, Minami sat up. Sakura whispered, "Hey Minami." As they entered together, Minami averted her gaze, embarrassed at the condition of her chamber. "Hello Sakura." Hinata and Sakura exchanged glances. Hinata responded, "We wanted to come cheer you up." Minami sobbed once again and reclined. Sakura put Minami's arm over her shoulder and sighed, saying, "There's nothing to cheer up." Minami sighed as Sakura led her to the restroom, saying, "Minami, let me clean you up. Hinata will stay here and pick out something for you to wear." I didn't realize how severely Minami was handling this, but I knew from Naruto that he was. While going through Minami's closet, Hinata came across a clothing that appeared to be handmade. "This blue dress is so lovely. Did Minami make it, I wonder?" The Uzumaki symbol was on the back of it as she flipped it around. It was a dress with frills at the bottom and short sleeves. A clothing with a doll core. It resembled a more casual Lolita outfit. Hinata glistened at the gown. Minami frequently talks about owning a cafe, but I believe that dressmaking is calling her name. "This is really lovely." She removed her underwear and placed the dress on the bed. Sakura exclaimed, "Minami, I don't think your hair can be saved." As if she was having difficulty. "Just try your best Sakura," exclaimed Minami. When Hinata rushed in, she saw Sakura attempting to brush her long, tangled hair and Minami wrapped in a towel. With a sigh, Sakura turned to face Minami. This will not sit well with her. Minami scared out when Sakura grabbed up some scissors. Sakura turned and said, Hey. Wait, maybe we can save some of it." To Hinata. Hinata nodded and went to fetch Ino, saying, "Go get Ino, she's better at this hair thing than I am." When Ino arrived, she scowled at Minami's hair. Minami glanced aside sorrowfully and said, "I can try. I don't think I can save any more." Minami was lamenting the Hokage in her hair. "Just do what you can." Her lengthy hair reached the back of her knees and past her butt. She has never been able to do it. Perhaps I need a new beginning. Minami appeared resolute as she wiped her tears. She said, "Just cut it off, it'll grow back." Which confused the girls. They all shared the same thought as they gazed at one another. What's happening to her? Ino held out the scissors after brushing away the tangles and moving slightly past her shoulders. "Are you ready, Minami?" Minami nodded slowly while gripping Hinata's hand for support. Ino began to cut. Minami could feel the weight of her head decreasing. "This is excellent." "It is, I promise." When Ino was finished, Minami got up and turned to face the mirror. Reaching up carefully, she touched her now short hair. "It looks so good," Sakura exclaimed, clapping her hands together. Hinata concurred with her. Minami turned to compliment Ino, saying, "Yeah Minami, Ino did a great job." Minami nodded and hurried to her room. "No problem girl, now get dressed. We're going out," she said. When she saw the dress Hinata had chosen for her, she halted. What made Hinata choose this particular dress? "I had Naruto model the first dress I ever made." As she dressed, Minami laughed at the idea. The girls all exclaimed, "Ooh," when she emerged wearing the dress. Minami blushed and spun around a bit. Sakura questioned her, "Where did you get this dress from Minami?" "I made it myself. I got tired of shop owners always kicking me out, so I make my own clothes." This dress was the first dress I ever made. Ino had sparkles in her eyes. "Please, please, please make me one." Minami was at a loss for words. Ooh, me too," Sakura exclaimed. With trepidation, Hinata nodded. The female surprised Minami by saying, "I'd like one also." She glanced at her gown. Was my outfit truly that elegant? Perhaps it's time to start manufacturing dresses. Minami, who is rather little, gave the girls a bright grin and embraced them as best she could. They all said, "You girls are the best. Let's go out," and departed the flat. Minami encountered the boys while enjoying herself with the girls. Naruto smiled broadly as he ran up to his sister. "Minami, you girls are the best," he said as he lifted his sister and gave her a whirling embrace. Kiba exclaimed, "Whoa Minami, your hair," as Naruto set her down. "Minami's hair?" he asked, blinking as he examined his sister more closely. Minami waited for an answer. "Do you like it Naruto? Ino helped me cut off all the tangle bits that couldn't be saved." They all turned to watch Sasuke after hearing, "It looks nice." Sakura and Ino cooed, "Sasuke." Naruto rolled his eyes and crossed his arms. Minami raised a palm to her face and giggled. Sasuke bowed and continued to move away. Ah, thank you Sasuke. You should be thanking the girls though. They really brought me out of my funk. When Asuma approached the group, they resumed their conversation. Sensei, Ino said, and he gave her a wave. Minami gasped and seized Naruto's arm, saying, "Hey guys, I'm here for Minami." She sobbed, "Whatever I didn't do it." Naruto attempted to console her. He took out a tiny package from his side pocket and said, "No, no. Nothing like that." As he gave it to her, Minami blinked. She took the package and opened it a little, saying, "I tried giving it to Naruto, but he wanted me to hand it to you myself." Minami closed the package when Asuma stated, "Before you open it." Asuma gave Minami a handwritten note and said, "That is from the Hokage, here is the note that was with it." Then he embraced her. Minami sobbed a little and gave him a hug in return. "I know he was all you had growing up. I'm so sorry this has happened to you and don't hesitate to come see me to talk." Asuma released her hold and bid the group farewell with a wave. Minami shrugged and opened the note to read Naruto's question. What does the note say? Go back in time to the time Lord Hokage composed it. After dipping his feather, the Hokage began to write. Dear Minami, in life there will be hardships. There will be love and pain. There will be hopelessness and honor. One day I won't be here and you won't have me anymore. Just know you've made so many friends that have become your family. You'll be just fine without me. If you're ever lonely, just look around. In this box will be teachings I won't be able to teach you. There are teachings that the 3 Sanins were taught. I believe you have what it takes to learn them. Also in this box is a necklace that belonged to my mother. I wanted to pass it down to a granddaughter. Minami, you're the closest I have to a granddaughter. I know you'll do great things in life. The Hokage kept it hidden in the box. Without me, she will be alright. As Minami read the letter, she started crying. A necklace and fresh insights. She took the necklace out. The gemstone is pink. Another message was affixed to it. Is the purpose of this gemstone protection? I will definitely wear it. Naruto assisted Minami in putting it on when she showed it to him. Sakura and Ino exclaimed, "It's so pretty Minami." In amazement. Kiba responded shyly, "Yeah, it really does look good on you." Naruto complained about the scene, and Minami blushed at what he had said. My sister. She is constantly flirting with Kiba. Kiba had the biggest smile on her face since the Hokage's death as Naruto saw her and his sister clasp fingers. I can't be too angry, I suppose. With a nod, Naruto raised his fist in the air. He said, "Alright, let's go get ramen." And everyone agreed. After that, they all dashed to Ichiraku Ramen. Minami had her sewing machine at home. Sakura, Ino, and Hinata thought my clothing was great. I'll have to customize them. She started sketching up the plans for the outfit. I hope the fabric store has opened. One of the people who treats me well is her. Minami picked up her papers and went to her feet. She grinned at herself as she gazed into her mirror. She was wearing a lilac dress with light blue ruffles that resembled the blue. The dress featured small bows on each side and reached her knees. As she exited the house, Minami hummed. She skipped to the fabric store after jumping down the stairs. When she saw Ino, she stopped. Ino is there. When she heard her name, she was about to approach her. Shikamaru remarked, "Ino, this is so troublesome." Choji was simply listening to them while eating chips. It's not Shikamaru. That girl is nothing but trouble. Honestly, it was pathetic the way she was. It's not like she was related to the Hokage. And that awful dress of hers. I lied and told her I wanted one. Ino looked dreadful. With a sigh, Shikamaru turned to face her. Minami froze as they continued to chat and move away. Ino, why did you go over to her house to help if you're just going to be mean? How troublesome. How pitiful. Horrible. Her eyes began to well up with tears. Despite her best efforts, the tears continued to flow. As she held up the sketch she had created for Ino's garment, her vision became blurry. She crumpled it up with a faint groan. Hell with her. Minami wiped her tears and tossed the paper away. She bumped with someone and stumbled back as she turned to hurry back to her flat. Ah, she exclaimed as she collapsed to the floor. Glancing up at Kiba, Hinata, and Shino, she stroked her head. Minami. Kiba assisted her in standing up, and she wiped herself. The unexpected encounter made her blush. This boy. Minami nodded when Hinata inquired, "Are you okay?" Hinata was perplexed, so Minami informed them what she had heard. Yeah, just a little upset by what Ino said. Kiba was gripping his fists and snarling after his explanation. I knew Ino was mean, but I didn't know she was this mean," he said. Manami placed a hand on his shoulder and shook her head. Manami remarked sorrowfully, "Don't get all riled up. I shouldn't have trusted her character." Kiba cast a dejected glance at his friend. "Maybe we can lift Manami's spirits today, poor thing." Hinata gestured to the documents she was holding. She inquired, "What's that?" Manami grinned. She handed her sketch to Hinata. Hinata was amazed by the drawing and said, "This is the dress I was going to make for you, if you still want it." She nodded when Hinata said, "You drew my body and guessed my measurements just by looking at me. You could say it's a bit of talent." Manami suddenly experienced a severe headache. She winced in agony and clutched her head. Kiba inquired, "You all right, Manami?" And she gave them a little laugh. "Why yeah, just a headache," she exclaimed, removing her hand from her head. "I wish I could get rid of these headaches. They will never give up. I'm going to get power." Manami gasped and surveyed his surroundings. "Did you hear that?" She urgently questioned the three of them. Hinata exclaimed, "And no," and retreated. Kiba sent a troubled glance at Manami. Manami gasped as Kiba remarked, "I know the Hokage's death has affected you a lot, but this is too far." No one said anything. Nobody. "I need to start working out more." Re-grabbing her sketch, Manami bolted for her apartment. She said, "I'll be fine. Just need to train." In response, as she fled, the three blinked. Kiba said to no one, "I wonder what's going on with her. What a waste of time attempting to lift her spirits." When Manami arrived at her apartment, she unlocked the front door. Naruto had not returned, most likely spending time with Konohamaru or something. Grinning, she began to store all of her sewing supplies. "The Hokage left those scrolls for me to peruse. I put that box somewhere." Manami searched for the box. She opened the package, took out the message, and glanced inside. She gave it a loving smile. Then she felt something in the note. "That's strange. I wonder what would happen if I infused it with my chakra." Manami picked up the note and inhaled. The sentences abruptly altered as she focused her chakra on the note. With a gasp, she let go of the note. "That's super weird," she said, carefully picking up the note once more and beginning to read. She perspired after saying, "Manami, by this time you've figured out the trick I've put on this note. Congrats. You're more smart than you give yourself credit for. As you know, the nine-tailed beast resides inside you. It is not the full beast. Half was put into Naruto and the other half was put into you. You guys were always under supervision growing up. You were allowed to live together as your parents wished for, but there was always an Anbu watching over you." Manami frowned. "Stalkers. Hold on, Nine Tails." She kept reading. Manami trembled as she repeatedly read, "Iruka and I talked about separating you two forever. The threat of the Nine Tails is still too much. For the greater good of the village, I ask for you to leave and train." "I'll leave? For the benefit of all?" She glanced at her hands. "Do I pose that big of a threat? With whom do I even train? If this is the Hokage's will, it is happening so quickly. I have to do it." Manami let out a huge sigh. "How am I going to respond to Naruto? To Sakura? To Hinata?" She reddened quietly to herself. To Kiba, Manami slapped the sides of her face and shook her head. "I'm capable of this. It doesn't require me to be gone indefinitely. Only till I'm better trained." Manami began packing after giving herself a nod. "I'll write and seal a message to every person for whom I have the utmost affection." Manami took a seat and began to write. "Dear Naruto," she went on. She began drafting a generic letter to everyone after finishing her letter to her brother. "To whomever reads this," she said with a final smile before closing it. Then she gazed at the final letter. "Kiba, the one and only man who ever offered me hope. The only person who seemed interested in me. Other than that one encounter with Lee. However, I'm rather certain that Lee is attracted to everyone." Sweating profusely, she began to write. "I want him to wait for me and know that I will remember him. I'm hoping he will." After sealing it, she picked up her purse. "For now, I suppose this is farewell. I have no idea when I'll return." As she slipped down the stairs and out the front door, she grinned. Kiba halted her as she was making her way to the gates. She looked aside a little as she gasped. She blushed a little and said, "Hey, Manami, Akamaru and I were just looking for you." Without turning to face him. Her manner perplexed Kiba. Was there an incident involving her and Naruto? Or is this related to what transpired with Ino? He pondered. He whispered, "What's wrong, Manami?" But she refused to look at him. "This is goodbye," she cried, balled her fists. Kiba gazed up at him with sad eyes and blinked in surprise. Whoa, Manami, she exclaimed as she gave him a strong hug and they collapsed. Though still perplexed, Kiba gave her a hug in return. What is happening to her right now? Manami clutched his garments and sniffed on his chest. Kiba blushed as she spoke. Kiba, I just want you to know that I'll always have you on my mind. You're really important to me. What is this female talking about? After he lifted them both off the ground, Akamaru began to lick her face. He licked away her tears while she giggled. She returned Akamaru and turned to go, saying, well, thank you for the kind words Manami, but what is happening? Kiba gasped and grasped her hand, saying, I must leave, it is the Hokage's will that I do. Wait, where are you going? She murmured, slowly removing her hand from his. There was a trick on the note the Hokage left me. When I infused it with my chakra it revealed a note stating I had the other half of the 9 tails in me and I must train to keep it at bay. Being close to Naruto makes it stronger, so if I go far away to train it won't be as bad. Kiba stared wide-eyed. She came back to him one more time and said, don't worry about me Kiba, I'm smart and strong. I'll be fine. She leaned in to give him a cheek kiss and said, I left you a letter, please read it. Also, they had the impression that time had stopped. Kiba's face was flushed with shock. Manami was grinning despite having blush on her face as well. She turned and fled, saying, I'll be back. Kiba simply watched her leave, contemplating whether or not to chase after her. She would be furious with me. I won't tell anyone about this encounter. He blushed slightly as he stroked his face. She truly is the ideal girl for me. With a gentle smile, he turned to return to the village. I'm hoping she is competent. In search of his sister, Naruto dashed home. Tonight, we're eating ramen. I'm ecstatic. I adore Manami's delicious ramen. After flinging open the door, Naruto halted. He cast a wary glance about. This place doesn't feel quite right. He realized that several of Manami's belongings were missing as he searched around. Manami. He went to her door in the corridor and gave it a quick tap. Manami. When he opened it, the majority of her belongings were gone. He rushed in and began hurriedly scanning the area. Manami. What happened to her? He discovered the letters while in a panic. Letters. My name is on this one. He carefully opened it and began to read. I'll be gone by the time you discover this letter, Naruto. The Hokage's message contained a conundrum that required chakra to complete. His final request in the letter was for me to train far away from you. We both share elements of the 9 tails, as you are aware. He was concerned that it would attack the community once more if I stayed too close to you. I won't be gone indefinitely just until I finish my training. I adore you. Naruto was now in tears. There is no more of his blood in the village. Manami, I don't get it. Yes, I do. However, I don't. Why didn't she discuss this with me? I could have assisted her. 3 additional letters caught his attention. One for Kiba, one for generic, and one for Sasuke. Grabbing the letters, Naruto bolted. He sprinted all the way to Sasuke's residence. Until he answered, he pounded on the door. What doby? Leave me alone, he said, pausing when he noticed Naruto shedding a few tears. As Naruto handed him Manami's letter, Sasuke questioned, what happened? Sasuke accepted the letter and looked at it for a moment before saying, Manami left the village to train, she wanted you to have this letter. Naruto abruptly said, thank you Sasuke. Sasuke turned back to face him. He crossed his arms and asked Naruto, for what exactly? Naruto immediately hurried to locate Kiba, saying, for always being a friend for my sister. It wasn't easy for us to fit in. I'm glad she had someone to talk with besides me. After closing his door, Sasuke read the letter. I appreciate your unwavering support, Sasuke. I truly consider you as a brother, even though it wasn't easy with your army of fangirls. This is only a temporary farewell till I find my own strength. When I return, I hope to see you. Sasuke laughed to himself. You never cease to astound me, Manami. Are you going to train alone? He peered out the window at the somewhat purple sky. I look forward to seeing you again, stronger. We might get into a brawl. He set the note aside and carried on with his day. Naruto looked for Kiba across the town. Where might this man be? When someone touched his shoulder, he became irritated. He leapt and toppled over. He saw Kiba when he looked up. Kiba, I was just looking for you. Naruto handed Kiba his letter when Kiba lifted him off the ground. Kiba bowed and accepted the letter, saying, my sister left the village to train. She left this letter to you. Manami. Thinking. Kiba touched his face once again. Naruto grinned and said, "Thank you, Kiba." Naruto humbly remarked, "My sister really likes you. I hear her talking about marrying you in her sleep." In reaction, Kiba raised his arms and reddened. Naruto laughed at him, saying, Hey, I'm not thinking about that yet." Before walking away, glancing down at the letter he was holding, Kiba carefully opened it. "Thank you, Kiba, for always shining a light on me. I simply want you to know that you've always been a favorite of mine. Similar to how Sakura and Ino admire Sasuke, we have our entire lives ahead of us, so I'm always too shy to take any action. If you still like me in the future, please circle yes or no and return it to me. Wait for me, please. Let Akamaru know that he is my favorite puppy. I adore Manami." Kiba noticed the words, "Do you like me?" at the bottom of the page. Either yes or no. His entire face became a deep scarlet. "Manami, you had best return soon." Kiba simply pocketed the note and headed straight home.